Bye. Good afternoon, everyone. Buenas tardes. The April 16, 2026 meeting of the San Diego Community College District Board of Trustees is hereby called to order. This meeting is being conducted in a hybrid format with board members and meeting presenters participating in person. Others are participating remotely via Zoom. We also welcome any members of our district community and the members of the public who are viewing the meeting live via YouTube. The board is open to receiving public comments. If anyone is interested in doing so, this is our procedure. To address the board, please fill out a comment card available on the side of the room or from the board recording secretary. If anyone participating remotely would like to make public comment, please email boardoffice@sdccd.edu for further direction. San Diego College of Continuing Education has adopted a land acknowledgement statement to publicly recognize that the land we occupy is the unceded territory and ancestral homeland of the Kumeyaay people. College of Continuing Education student trustee Jair Melendez will now read the college's land acknowledgement. Trustee Melendez.
San Diego College of Continuing Education, across its 7 campuses, acknowledge that we are situated on the unceded ancestral land of the Kumeyaay people, indigenous to this region since time immemorial. We recognize the resilience of the Kumeyaay in overcoming generational trauma from colonization, a trauma shared by many indigenous communities, as well as the African diasporas, who uncompensated labor and suffering under chattel slavery. Jim Crow and systemic oppression has been foundational to development of this country. We honor to the legacies and enduring strength of this community, acknowledging our collective debt to their labor, sacrifice, and the knowledge and skill forcibly taken through violence and white supremacy. This includes recognizing the significant contribution of the China and Japanese immigrants and migrant workers for the Philippines, Mexico, and Central and South America, who labor often extracted through exploitative and coercive means has been vital to our nation's cultural and economic growth. Our commitment is to foster transformative learning experience that support indigenous knowledge system and practice, and to critical other practice that perpetuated harm against indigenous, Black, brown, and other marginalized communities. This acknowledgement is a place to develop and sustain respectful relationship with the Kumeyaay and other indigenous communities, and to honor or rectify the historical injustice this group face as we work together to honor and care for this land.
Thank you, student trustee. And now, can you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Thank you, Board President. Please stand. Begin. Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We have 2 readouts from closed session. The board has returned from closed session with the following actions to report. Under item 2.02A of the closed session agenda, on a motion by trustee Maria Nieto Sr. and seconded by trustee Hazel Arroyo, the board denied the appeal of the administrative determination of a Title V complaint. The votes were 4 for aye and 1 abstention. We also returned from closed session with the following actions to report under item 2.02B of the closed session agenda. On a motion by trustee Craig Mildrum and seconded by trustee Maria Nieto Sr., the board approved the written settlement agreement in connection with the following litigation. Hupka Paul et al. Versus San Diego Community College District, San Diego Superior Court Case number 37-2023-000335250 with, and the vote was unanimous. Thank you. And now, Chancellor.
Thank you. I'd like to thank the College of Continuing Education for hosting the board here at the North City campus as we continue progress towards the renovations to the historic ECC Theater. I want to welcome all the members of our college constituency that are here with us. The board each year conducts meetings at each of our campuses to allow the board to come out and see what's happening at the sites where students are, and gives the campus an opportunity to engage with the board in ways they may not always be able to. I know a lot of hard work has gone into this, so I will cut my remarks short. Welcome Dr. King to conduct the campus presentation.
Thank you so much, Chancellor Smith, and good afternoon to our board members. We want to say welcome to everyone to the College of Continuing Education's campus board meeting. You all are in for a treat tonight. We have a special written, composed, beautiful artwork piece by Dr. Esther Anthony Thomas, and the theme is called My Story Is Not Your Story. So tonight you all will be taken on a journey to hear from our students and their beautiful stories. We also have amazing food back there that is from 10 different countries. So if you haven't noticed the theme, it is around the world as we celebrate the College of Continuing Education and all of the beautifulness that comes with it, which is the different identities and lived perspectives. So I'm gonna cut it short because we want to have our full time. So I will now turn it over to Dr. Anthony Thomas.
Welcome, Board of Trustees and Chancellor Smith, to a presentation of
قصتي ليست قصتك لكنها جيدة بما فيه الكفاية.
រឿងរបស់ខ្ញុំមិនមែនជារឿងរបស់អ្នកទេប៉ុន្តែវាល្អគ្រប់គ្រាន់ហើយ
Mi historia no es tu historia, pero es suficiente.
मेरी कहानी आपकी कहानी नहीं है, बट काफी है.
Histoire pamna, pas histoire pola, mais vraiment bon.
我嘅故事與你嘅故事唔同，不過我諗已經最好啦。
Câu chuyện của tôi không phải câu chuyện của bạn, nhưng nó đã đủ tốt rồi.
Minha história não é sua história, mas é suficiente.
My Story Is Not Your Story.
What is good enough?
This evening is not a panel, it's a pulse. Not a lecture, a living archive. Some of us crossed oceans. Some of us crossed neighborhoods. Some crossed nothing but assumptions. Every migration begins with a disruption, and every disruption carries a dream. And whether your passport has stamps or your story does, you already are a part of this unfolding. There's always one suitcase that refuses to close because grief does not respect airline weight limits. Immigration is logistics on paper. But in this spirit, it's a theological negotiation. What do I keep? What do I surrender? And what does God expect me to rebuild from scratch? To those in the audience who has never packed your life into 50 pounds, you still know the ache of leaving something sacred behind. An accent is simply evidence of bravery. It means your tongue learned to survive twice. Psychologists call it code switching. Grandmamas or big mama call it make them hear you anyway, baby. In scripture on Pentecost, language divided and then united. Heaven did not erase accents. It amplified understanding. And if you've ever felt too loud, too different, too other, welcome to the human club. We meet on Tuesdays. Some dreams clock in before sunrise. Immigrant families often teach this silent curriculum. Work is love in action. But let's be honest. To those who did not grow up transitioning bills at age 12, sometimes work is also survival in disguise. You may still understand the pressure to succeed for someone else's sake because of love. The burden is different, the backbone is similar. Imagine building a future while your present feels conditional. That requires faith that borders on audacity. Biblically speaking, Abraham migrated without clarity. He stepped without a GPS, just a promise. Migration has always required radical trust. And for those who have never feared paperwork, you have still feared something. Rejection, failure, not belonging, different forms, same vulnerability. Let us begin. My story's not your story, but it's good enough. My story won't be your story, but it's good enough. My story ain't your story, but it's good enough to see your likeness in me. Freedom. Oh, freedom.
Good afternoon. I want to begin with a question that does not always get asked, but structures everything. In Can the Subaltern Speak, Gayatri Spivak writes, between patriarchy and imperialism, the figure of the woman disappears. She is naming a condition where people are not simply unheard, but erased in the very systems that claim to account for them. Not through absence, but through silence. And today I want to talk about voice, not as expression, but as method, as survival, as institutional intervention. My name is Terry Sivers, and I'm the San Diego College of Continuing Education Black Student Success Counselor and Coordinator, where I work primarily with Black students navigating layered realities. And what we are building there is not simply programming, it's voice work. Institutions see numbers, enrollment, completion, retention rates, transfer data, but numbers rarely capture what our students carry. Our students arrive navigating immigration precarity, TPS uncertainty, asylum processes, employment exploitation, housing instability, language transition, racialized assumptions, and the psychological fatigue of always being unheard. Many of our students are rebuilding their lives after political unrest, displacement, and trauma. But institutional systems do not ask about trauma. They ask for documentation, for proof, for compliance. And so the question becomes, what happens to voice inside bureaucratic structures? Spivak reminds us that people can be included in systems and still disappear within them. That reality is not abstract for our students. I see it in the pause before a student speaks in the classroom. I see it when a father tells me he's working nights, attending ESL during the day to send money home. I see it when a student says quietly, "I'm scared." Voice shows up. It shows up in resilience, in humor, in community, in quiet endurance. But resilience alone should not be the requirement for survival. And that is where voice becomes something more. This is where story, calling, and purpose unfolds.
I don't just teach English. I steward emergence. As an ESL educator, I stand at the intersection of language and becoming, where voices are not merely learned, but reborn. I get to inspire with vision that stretches beyond their current horizon. I get to guide by walking beside, translating not just words, but worlds. And I get to envision it all, to hold tight to what they cannot yet see. Because English is not just a language, it is leverage. A strategic asset, a key that unlocked rooms that they were told were not built for them. In my classroom, English becomes their instrument that is shaping a new voice, one syllable at a time, until hesitation turns into declaration. Here, they begin to name what they want, and in naming it, they move toward it. In my class, they are not isolated learners. They are connected. Student services do not just sit in offices waiting for them to ask for services. They come into the room where relationships are built in real time. Resources become visible, opportunities become tangible. We collapse the distance between access and awareness. And when my students step into campus, when they show up, participate, and engage, we celebrate through a system that rewards their presence, their courage, and their curiosity. Because participation is much more than attendance, it is activation. And from there, pathways begin to form. Not just to learn English, but to use it, to advocate in parent-teacher conference, to apply for a job with confidence instead of fear, to walk onto a campus, not just as a visitor, but a future graduate. Language becomes action, action becomes momentum, momentum becomes transformation. So what happens here is not small. This is not just instruction. This is infrastructure for new lives, a place where voices rise, possibilities expand, and futures that were distant step forward and say, I was always yours.
Good evening, everyone. My story is not your story, but it matters. I come from Haiti, a place where strength is not a choice, it's a way of life. My journey has not always been easy. There were moments of uncertainty, moments where I felt lost, and moments where I questioned if I truly belonged. Coming to the San Diego College of Continuing Education was not just about education. It was about rebuilding myself. It was about finding my voice in a space once felt unfamiliar. At first, everything felt overwhelming. A new system, new expectations, and the pressure to succeed. But slowly, I realized something powerful. I was not alone. I met people that supported me, people who believed in me, and who reminded me that my story has value. As an immigrant, I carry more just than my dreams. I carry my families, our sacrifices, our hopes for a better future. Every step that I take is not just for me. It's for those who couldn't. It's for my grandmother who is no longer here, but her words stay with me every day. Éducation c'est clé, connaissance c'est pouvoir. Education is the key, knowledge is power. So even when it's not easy, I keep reminding myself, I will do it. I will do it for her. And step by step, I kept moving forward. There were times I felt like giving up, but I did not. Because I remembered where I came from. I remembered the strength that lives in me. Today, I stand here not just as a student, but as someone who is still growing, still learning, and still becoming. Today, I am proud to say that I will be transferring to City College next year. That moment is not just an achievement. My story is not perfect. It's not easy, but it's mine. And that is my power. Because no matter where I come from, no matter my struggles, my story deserves to be heard. Thank you.
My story won't be your story, but it's good enough. My story ain't your story, but it's good enough. Good enough to see your likeness in me.
My story is not your story. I grew up in a household where hard work was not just valuable, but it was survival. My parents came to the United States chasing opportunities they never had back home, hoping for a life that could be better for us. For me, coming here meant navigating two worlds at the same time. Having a language and a different culture while honoring my roots and finding my own place in this country. When I first heard about San Diego continuing education, I wasn't sure what to expect or what the experience looked like. I didn't come with a perfect English, not even a clear plan of what I wanted to do, even the sense of what college life was supposed to feel like. But I did come with determination, willingness to learn, and the memory of my parents' sacrifice pushing me forward. Through SDCCD, I found more than just classes. I found a community that understood that everyone's journey is different. I discovered skills I never thought I had. I had mentors who believed in me even when I doubted myself. Every challenge I face, language barriers, cultural differences, color difference, or self-doubt, all those challenges become an opportunity for me to grow even more. My story is not your story, and yet, every time I get the chance to share it, I realize it's part of a mosaic of an immigrant experience. Each of us has our own struggles, and we have our own dreams. SDCCD gave me the tools to honor my journey and help others honor their journey. Today, I stand here very proud, not just for what I have accomplished, but also I've come. And I know my story is unique, and it's also part of a community that celebrates resilience, courage, and hope. Thank you for listening, and I'm grateful to tell my story.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name is Nigina Azimi. I used to be a journalist in Afghanistan. I spoke calmly in front of the cameras and shared the truth in the TV and social media. I was a woman, a wife, and a mother. I believed in the future. But in 2021, everything changed. When the Taliban took the control, life became very difficult for me and other women in Afghanistan. The street looks the same, but they were not long safe. I was afraid. I could not work, I could not continue my education. Even going alone was a crime for a woman in Afghanistan. I remember the silence. Fear slowly came to my life. The fear was not only around me, but deep inside me. Before I felt strong, then I felt small. Before I had purpose, then I feel lost. Sometimes I thought my story would end there. But I had a hope because of my daughter, and that small hope saved me. I decided to leave my country. I lived with my small family, with my memories, my fear, and a small hope. When I came to America, everything was new and everything looked different for me. I feel lost, but in the lost, there was also hope. I start again at the San Diego Continuing of Education. I began ESL classes there. Now I can do things for myself and help others. Slowly, my life began to come back. I continue my education and I start work as a student worker. And right now I am a mother of 2 children. I work as a project assistant at the president's office. I am the first person when you walk in, you will see me. I am proud of myself. And when everything disappears suddenly in front of your eyes and you start everything from zero, this is my story.
Hello everyone, my name is Idil and I come from Djibouti, a small country in East Africa. I was born and raised in a loving family and a community that wants my success more than anything. They support me, encourage me, and help shape the person I am today. I started school at the age of 6. I completed 5 years of primary school, then had the opportunity to attend one of the best schools in my country. I finished middle school in 2 years instead of 4, continued to a high school, and complete 2 years of preparatory classes. Those years were some of the most meaningful and formative experiences of my life. Winning the visa lottery changed everything. It gave me the chance to come here, to challenge myself, to discover new opportunity, and to pursue a better education. Coming alone to a new country, far from my parents and the people who shared the best and hardest moment of my life wasn't easy, but I did it to learn, to grow, and to build a future where I can support my family and my community. Today, I'm studying at SDCCE, taking ESL Level 6 to strengthen my English and to prepare myself for the next step. I plan to enter college this fall semester to begin the nursing program. Becoming a registered nurse is more than a career for me. It's a way to take my life into my own hands, to build stability, and to dedicate myself to helping others. Here, I have met good people, people who truly care about us and our success and want to see us move forward. I want to sincerely thank this community, especially the Black Student Success Program, for the support, encouragement, and belief in us. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Gafira Simon. I migrated to United States 2 years ago from Haiti. Starting a new life in the new country was not on my list, but I always wanted to study abroad and go back to serve my country. Back in Haiti, I earned a bachelor's degree in civil engineering. Right after graduating, I moved to the United States without my parents. It was the first time I was separated from my parents and my siblings. Everything was new for me, the culture, the language, and the environment. Therefore, pursuing my career in the United States is one of the most important things I constantly think about. I deeply value education, hard work, discipline, and determination because these are key elements for success. Since I didn't know English, the first thing I did was go to school to learn English. As an immigrant, being a student at San Diego College of Continuing Education is one step towards achieving my goals. I took my first English class at Mid-City campus. I got my first job at Northgate Market as a courtesy clerk. I stayed there for 6 months, but I was terminated because of my immigration status. At that time, the only things I could do was go to school because I could not work and do anything. My documents were expired, and I felt limited. However, that did not stop me. I went to Harborview campus, take the nursing assistant certification. I finished the program, but I couldn't still work because I didn't have my work permit yet. Thankfully, I had my family supporting me during that time when I was not working. I started working as a nursing assistant in October 2024 at San Diego Post-Acute Center. I gained experience and continued taking other training. I completed the restorative nursing assistant training, which helped me improve my skill as a CNA. I also earned a project management certificate from North City campus, which I believe will be useful in my education, my professional life, and beyond. At some point, I felt stuck between staying in the medical field and following my dream in engineering. I was scared to make a decision because it would affect my life and my future. Then, I met two incredible people, Dr. Terry and Zoe Williams. They helped me navigate my path and take small steps towards my dream. They helped me with my resume, finding internship program, and connecting me with resources. They were always guiding me and supporting me. With my CNA certification, I also had the opportunity to work as a project assistant for the CNA program at Arborview campus. It was a good experience for me. I had the opportunity to work with CNA students and share my experiences with them. However, my goal was not to stay as a CNA. I applied 4 months ago to Familiar Centers of San Diego and currently work as a patient engagement specialist. And San Diego Community College is one of our partners. I am the point of contact for Mid-City campus. Those trainings opened many doors for me. I have always loved civil engineering because it is a field that directly impacts society. Civil engineers impact lives like few others. We build and create structures that allow progress and improve the quality of life for people. I started taking steps towards my goals at the end of 2025, and I enrolled at City College for a major in engineering. And at the same time, I applied to the San Diego State University for a master program in geotechnical engineering. And I have good news. I got admitted into the master program at San Diego State University. I am very excited to start this new journey and gain new experiences. The road is long, but I believe I will succeed. There is more ahead for me. Some people may ask why I started in the medical field and then returned to engineering. I will say that I am grateful for those experiences because they opened many doors for me and helped me make the right decision. Everyone has their own story. My story is not your story. You must take your own journey and make it your story. Thank you for listening.
Good afternoon. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to present my story today as an immigrant Brazilian. My name is Roberta Krause, and I'm currently serving as the Dean of Counseling and Career Transition Service at San Diego College of Continuing Education. I was born and raised in Brazil to an Italian father and Afro-Brazilian mother, so you can imagine my house was full of culture, food, music, and a lot of loud conversations. I came to US when I was 24 years old with a simple plan: learning English in 6 months and go back to Brazil to finish my education, my degree in computer science. Well, I'm still here, still learning English. Even with my doctoral degree, there are words that I don't know, and there's some I avoiding saying because my pronunciation might surprise you. When I arrived to US, I faced so many challenges, but the first ones was definitely food. I grew up eating rice and black beans every day, so adjusting to hamburgers, hot dogs, pizza was an experience. Let's just say I was not impressed at first. So I quickly learned how to cook my hometown rice and black beans. I work in 2 jobs to support myself and my family, and most of my money went to towards expensive international calls just to stay connected with my parents. I also failed my driver license test 4 times. Yes, 4 times. Not because I didn't know how to drive, but because I didn't understand the English. So I couldn't pass the written test. So yes, public transportation and I became very close friends for so many years. My journey truly changed when I enrolled in continuing education to improve my English. Once I felt more comfortable with my English, I transferred to Grossman College to continue my education sociology. Then at San Diego State to do my master's degree in counseling. And back in 2023, I got my doctorate in leadership at USC. At school is where I found myself. I found professors who believed in me. One of the professors at Grossman College gave me a chance with a broken English and offered me a job as a peer advising supporter of international students. I was so happy because it meant I could finally leave one of my jobs. I left the job at the Creole restaurant where I work as a cook. And my ex-husband was very happy because I no longer came home smelling like fried food. For so many years, instead of carrying lipsticks or other women essential, I carry a mini recorder, a notepad, and a pocket dictionary. Those were my survival kits, tools. I used the recorder to capture my class's lecture so I could listen to it later, the notepad to write down words I didn't understand, and a Portuguese-English dictionary to translate everything I was learning. So while other women were touching their makeups, I was studying vocabulary. But what truly made a difference in my life definitely was, and shaping my career, was the people, right? The people's patience, kindness, and willing to support me. Because of that support, I was able to grow. I was able to become a counselor, then a director, and now a dean. Today, I give it back mentoring others because I know how powerful it's when somebody believes on you. Life has a beautiful way of coming for a full cycle. Now my son's at San Diego State, finishing his degree in computer science, the degree I once started but I couldn't finish in Brazil. So while my journey didn't follow the plan I originally imagined, it led me exactly where I'm supposed to be. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I was born on a border, not the kind with barbed wires and armed patrol, the kind drawn softly in pink ink across a hospital blanket, a line that said girl, a line that carried paperwork, pronouns, and prophecies before I ever spoke. My grandmother called me Miracle. My mother called me daughter. The nurse wrote a word on a certificate that would follow me like a passport stamp before departure. But inside, there was already another homeland. As a child, I felt it the way immigrants describe the old country, familiar, without ever having seen it. A landscape of boyhood in my bones. I borrowed it in secret, the way refugees borrowed courage in small trembling portions. I stood in front of the mirror practicing another name, the same way someone whispered, a language they were told to forget. In school, I crossed daily checkpoints. Bathrooms were border crossing. Roll calls were custom inspections. Present. I would answer to a name that felt like expired documentation. I learned early that identity, like citizenship, can be debated. Being Black in America had already made me a dual citizen of caution and resilience. I carried the inheriting passport of survival, stories of ancestors who migrated from plantations to cities, from Jim Crow to ballot boxes, from silence to song. My people knew something about forced geography, about being renamed, about crossing waters that did not part politely. My own migration was quieter, but no less seismic. College became my Ellis Island. New campus, new air, new possibilities. I met others who had crossed oceans of expectations, of holding two cultures in one mouth. I listened and I thought, yes, I am too. Transition was not a single leap, but a series of visas, social, medical, spiritual. I updated my documents, changed my name. I took the last name of my biological father, which was Spencer, and I took the name of my birth certificate dad, last name, which was Love. Black history already taught me that identity is not granted by oppressors. It is declared by the oppressed. Frederick Douglass renamed himself. Malcolm Little became Malcolm X. Then El Haji Malik El Shabazz. Names have always been instruments of liberation. I did not become someone new. I became someone true. That distinction matters. My story matters. My story is not your story, but it's good enough. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I moved through a hallway of government office in Vietnam with quiet confidence. I was an administrative assistant, well respected, well paid, and well repaid. My Bachelor of Arts in Business Administration was something I had earned with discipline and sacrifice. I understood system, I understood structure, I understood my place in the world. My life felt complete, and then I fell in love. Love didn't interrupt my life, it expanded. It invited me into the new chapter, one that carried me across the ocean to the United States more than 10 years ago. I came here for love. But when I arrived, something happened that I never expected. Silence. Not the peaceful kind, but the kind that lives inside you when you cannot speak, cannot express, and cannot fully be seen. I have never spoken a word in English. Imagine that as an educated woman, one confident and capable, suddenly unable to communicate even the simplest thought. It humbled me. It broke me a little, but it also revealed me. I made a decision that would change everything. I went back to school. I attended classes through the San Diego College of Continuing Education in the morning and in the evening. I started from the beginning with the letter, sounds, simple words. It wasn't easy. Some days I was tired. Some days I was discouraged, but I kept going. After 1 year, I transferred to San Diego Mesa College. And for 4 years, I stayed committed. I studied, I struggled, I grew, and then one day I graduated. That moment wasn't just about a degree. It was about transformations. It was about proving to myself that I could begin again and succeed again. But the most meaningful parts of my journeys come after. I returned to the place that helped me find my voice, San Diego College of Continuing Education. I started as an hourly employee. Then I became a contract part-time instructional aide. Now I work in the ESL office, and every day I see myself in my students. I see their fear, I see their determinations, I see the silent battle they fight just to say one sentence correctly. And I understand them because I was them. That is why I do this work. I want to help people like me to adapt, not by losing who they are, but by discovering who they can become. I meet them with compassion because I know how powerful it is to have someone believe in you when you are still learning to believe in yourself. I didn't just come to the United States and find love with another person. I found self-love within myself. A deeper kind, a stronger kind, the kind that reminds you of your purpose when life tries to redefine you. Self-love is not selfish, it is foundational. It is what carries me from silence to speak, from fear to confidence, from starting over to standing strong. So when I look at my students, I don't see where they are, I see where they are going. And I remind them, just as I remind myself, never stop, never doubt your ability to grow, and never forget your story is still unfolding. Thank you.
I spent some of my greatest and formative years there. Haiti is the most mountainous country in the Caribbean. I remember the raw, dramatic beauty. It wasn't polished or postcard perfect, and you feel that immediately. My aunt's house was built into the side of a mountain. The gravel driveway up was steep and windy. The land didn't slope gently, it plunged. It declared itself. I remember the first time I saw it from above, steep mountains dropping down into the bay of Port-au-Prince. The mountains and the sea were locked in. The air smells of salt near the coast and wet earth in the hills. Haiti's beauty feels alive. Gentle wind on your face, drums in the distance, mountains rising like ancient guardians from the sea. It is not defined by headlines. It is not defined by struggle alone. A land where waterfalls hide inside the tropical folds of the island, where caves guard history, where markets pulse with color, where music spills into the street, where mountains rise boldly beside the sea. Haiti is not simply a place you visit, it's a place that stays with you, and long after you leave, you still hear it, the steady compa rhythm, the laughter in the marketplace, the whisper of waves against sand. Haiti's culture is layered and alive with a powerful fusion of Caribbean spirit, French colonial history, and African heritage.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Pierre, and I stand before you not just as a student, but as a testimony in motion. I am a young Asian in the San Diego Community College district, carrying both textbooks and paperwork, both dreams and delays. Every day, I walk into my classes ready to learn, ready to build a future in healthcare, in vocational training, in something stable, something sustainable. But while I'm studying from exams, I am also studying systems, immigration systems that feel like a maze with no clear exit. Forms, deadlines, fees, renewals, each one a gatekeeper, each one asking me to prove again and again that I belong. And the truth is, the barriers are not just administrative, they are existential. When your immigration status feels uncertain, your future feels conditional. You begin to ask yourself, can I finish this program? Will I be allowed to work? Will this certificate mean something if I cannot legally stand in the workforce it prepares me for? This is the tension I live in, the calling to build, and the constant threat of interruption. In Asian culture, we say, Daemon Gemon, which means behind mountains, there are more mountains. That is what this journey feels like. Every time I overcome one obstacle, another rises, but still I climb. Because these classes matter, these certificates matter. In San Diego County, where the cost of living is not forgiving, education is about knowledge. It is about survival. It is about securing a stable income, contributing to the workforce, supporting families, and breaking cycles of instability. I am not asking for shortcuts. I am asking for alignment, for policies, support systems, and advocacy that recognize that students like me are already doing the work. We are already investing in this community. We just need the system to meet us with the same commitment. Scripture reminds us in Proverbs 31:8, speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves. Today, I am speaking not only for myself, but for countless students navigating this silent struggle. We are not invisible. We are not temporary. We are future nurses, electricians, counselors, educators, builders of this city tomorrow. All we are asking is for a fair chance to finish what we started. Thank you.
Hello, Board of Trustees, President Arroyo, Chancellor Smith, trustees, guests. My name is Dr. Bita Bookman. I'm the Dean of ESL and Citizenship, and I want to share a poem with you in honor of everyone here who had to leave their homeland for a new country and a new language. In my culture, poems are big, so we communicate through poems. So, in our countries where our tongue and we were one, we knew language was a river. We knew that knew our name, that carried us without question, without fracture, without fear of drowning. Our words arrived complete, sharp as morning light, polite as a well-set table, exact as truth standing unashamed. Then we crossed borders that did not only map land, but cleaved the spirit of speech. And suddenly our tongue, once sovereign, was slit into fragments, misaligned pieces, approximate offerings laid at the altar of understanding. The new language sat in our mouth like borrowed shoes, functional, but never formed to our stride. It pinched in places we couldn't name, slipped when we tried to move too quickly until even standing felt uncertain. People listened, but not to us. They listened to the echo of another language, to the misplaced rhythm of words, to the sacred labor of searching. And in those spaces, they authored us. Careful became hesitant, quiet became unsure, searching became unprepared, accent mistaken for aggression, precision reduced to approximation, silence rewritten into a story we never told. In another language, we are processed before we are perceived. In another language, we are measured before we are understood. And somewhere between grammar and gaze, we are mistaken for someone else. Someone slower, someone less. But hear us beyond syntax, beyond misplaced tense, beyond the trembling architecture of translated thought. For every word we search for, we carry two worlds in tension. For every pause you rush to feel, we are building a bridge we invite you to see. They say it gets better with time. Yes, perhaps vocabulary expands, fluency sharpens, sentences grow legs and begin to run, but perception Our perception lingers like old theology, slow to repent, slow to transform. And the way we are heard, the way we are seen, remains shaped by a borrowed voice that fits, but never quite belongs. So let this be our collective reckoning, a pivot of the soul. Lean in, listen with ears that have been baptized in patience. Listen with a heart that refuses assumptions. Make space where language learners aren't reduced but revealed, because linguistic justice is not charity, and belonging, true belonging, is not when we sound like you, but when you hear us as we are, whole. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Danny Essex. At 7 years old, my story and my whole world shifted. Not because love was absent, but because trauma interrupted it. My mother endured violence that no family should have to carry, and as a result, I entered the foster care system. Eventually, I landed in the boys' home, a place that paradoxically became my proving ground. Necessity led me to excel in the kitchen. After I got my first job in culinary arts, it was between grills and grits that I discovered something sacred. The kitchen doesn't ask where you come from, it only responds to what you create. What followed was not just a career, it was a 30-year culinary pilgrimage. Kitchens across cities, lessons across cultures. I stood among the top chefs in the company. I wore the chef coat with pride. As a former basketball player who competed from middle school through collegiate level, I understood identity. Uniforms weren't just fabric, they were statements. Culture stitched into fabric. I began teaching myself design the only way I knew how, through resourceful conviction. The conviction took me to stages I only imagined: Fashion Week San Diego and New York Fashion Week. Twice I showcased, twice I declared I belong here. Then life disrupted the script again, so I needed to bolster my career, so I headed to SDCCE and enrolled in San Diego Community College, College Continuing Education, stepping into digital design and mobile app development. What began as a necessity became revelation. Coding, structured, precise creativity. I felt like the kitchen all over again. Ingredients became syntax. Recipes became algorithms. Execution still required vision. And suddenly everything connected. Design, technology, storytelling, all came full circle. Now, as an SDCCE successful alumni and full stack developer, I can build applications from the ground up, small or large, simple or complex. I don't just use technology, I translate it into systems now. Today, I continue refining my craft, preparing the next phase at Miramar College to deepen my fashion design journey. Because evolution is the assignment, growth is the mandate. So here's the closing argument, the executive summary of a lived testimony. You will never access your full potential until you outgrow your fear. Fear is loud, but it's not sovereign. Never give up on yourself and never give up on your story.
Notice the pattern. Different names, different journeys, shared architecture, sacrifice, adaptation, faith, pressure, hope. Whether you crossed oceans or simply crossed into adulthood, you have navigated uncertainty. The psychology is clear. Resilience grows when stories are witnessed. The sociology is clear. Communities strengthen when narratives are shared. The theology is clear. We are strangers until we choose to see each other. Look around and see each other. Look to your left, look to your right. Say, I see you. This evening was not about immigration alone. It was about expansion. Expanding empathy, expanding imagination, expanding what we mean when we say us. Because none of us arrived here alone. Some were carried in suitcases, some were carried in prayers. All were carried by someone's sacrifice. And here we are, still standing, still learning, still building. This is not just survival, this is legacy in motion. Thank you for listening, not just with your ears, but with courage.
You are exactly where you are meant to be. And so I stand here deeply grateful, grateful to serve, grateful to witness, grateful to play my part in an ongoing liberation of a people who have always known their power, their resilience, their sacred magic of knowledge, the power of education, the strength of community, and their path to SDCCD, where be, belong, become is a freedom, is a reality every single day.
And in closing, freedom in this context is not just abstract liberation. It's the daily refusal to let students' suffering be translated into silence. It is the insistence that our students are not just spoken about, measured, or managed. They must be heard. They are voices navigating systems, and healing is not only personal, it's institutional. So my question for us all in this room is this: what would our campuses look like if we disrupted the conditions that make disappearance possible? If we did not just represent students, but actually listened? Because what Spivak ultimately forces us to confront is not that people do not speak, but that within dominant systems, the subaltern cannot be heard. And if that is true, then we must ask a harder question. Is our institution failing to hear our students? Is our institution structured to not hear them at all? Because if students are speaking and we are still not hearing them, then this isn't a student issue. This is a design issue. This is a policy issue. This is a power issue. So the work before us is not to teach students how to better navigate broken systems. It is to take responsibility for the systems we uphold, to examine what we reward, what we measure, and what we ignore, and to decide deliberately whether we are willing to change it. Because our students are already speaking, the question is no longer whether they have a voice. The question is whether we are willing to be accountable for how we listen. Thank you.
I want to say thank you so much to each and every one of you for such a beautiful story, for sharing your journeys, your stories, and most of all, purpose. We hope that you enjoyed today getting a chance to hear directly from our students, their stories, their journeys, and we just appreciate each and every one of you for being here tonight. We want to remind you that there's lots of food back there that represent 10 different countries. No one has touched it, so please make sure you indulge, and we leave you with purpose tonight. Thank you all so much. Well done. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for sharing your stories. We're gonna offer some comments and then we'll take a 5-minute break. Colleagues, would you like to say something? Anyone? Oh, Maria.
It's always inspiring to hear the stories of real people who we have the honor to interact with. Thank you so much, each of you, for coming forward and sharing who you are and what your journey has been.
All right.
Of course my mic isn't on. Oh, it's on, okay. Well, it's really an honor to sit here in front of you. Everything you all said, your words, your thoughts, the young man who quoted Proverbs. You stay in your word, I know that, okay. But I'm grateful to be able to sit here and to listen, right? And not to listen to respond, but to listen to hear. So thank you all so much. It was beautiful. It was really beautiful.
Well, your stories are not enough. They're inspiring. It makes me yearn for the days when I was in the classroom and I could hear directly from students what their stories were. And all of us on the board, and I'm sorry to speak for everybody, but we all had journeys. And one of you said, you are exactly where you need to be. And I think that's all of our stories, because none of us set out to be the trustee at a community college. It comes as a surprise to me every day, and certainly when I'm here. I totally get the too loud part. Someone said, get too loud? Yeah, I totally get that, as my board colleagues will attest to. Obviously, I have a connection to one of the presenters because I probably know more about his experience than any, because like him, for my entire life, every situation, home, family, work, wherever I was, I had to decide how gay I could be. And so, Spencer, you have my thanks for sharing your story with us. It makes it all the more difficult to live in the times that we're living in and watching immigrant and queer and trans populations being othered and erased. And I know all of you understand that and face it on a regular basis. I never realized how really broken our immigration system until I experienced it by helping I don't know which order to say this in, a queer Cuban immigrant student. And so I wanted to say what I said in private. I got him enrolled. Thank you very much to the folks that helped me in ESL classes. And when I met him in about April of last year, he spoke no English, none. When we ever sat together, we had to use our translation devices in our phones. Now he can have a regular conversation over pizza, but no hot dogs or hamburgers. And so I need to just give my thanks and applause to the folks in ESL because you really did change, and continue to change his life because I can't, I'm just astounded how quickly he was able to be conversant in English. It was just, I was very proud of him, but I was also very, very pleased to have had some role in it by getting to those services. Well, I'm not going to go on because I could continue. You're all an inspiration, and it makes me want to work harder for our students, and I do truly miss hearing their stories one-on-one. So, as usual, CE presented a completely unique experience for our campus visit, and thank you very much for your bravery to stand up and tell your stories.
Thank you. I know the Chancellor would like to say some words after me. Okay. So thank you. Thank you for your beautiful, beautiful words. I enjoyed your presentation so much. The sounds, the music, the words. It was beautiful, beautiful. It was quite the experience. And I wrote a few things, but I mean, the first word was goosebumps. You know, you truly moved me, and it was just beautiful. Connected, you know, in my experience. And the other word that I think the second word that I wrote was responsibility. And it connects to what you said back there, which is, you know, changing the conditions. And I bring up again and again, you know, my degree in public health, but that's what we're about, you know, making it easier for folks. And I think I wrote first responsibility because you all came to this country, right, with determination and grit. And so I just feel like we have such a responsibility, you know, to ensure that your experience is better, you know, every day, and how can we improve that? And it's just a privilege. So thank you again for your words, and keep going. We're cheering for you. Thank you. I don't think that she wants to. She's doing it. Go ahead.
I don't usually say anything after the campus presentation because this is the board's meeting, not mine, and I have plenty of opportunity. But I said in 2023, characterizing the colleges have their own unique personalities, and at CE, it's an experience, which you heard two of our board members say. This truly was. So thank you, all of you, for allowing me to be here in community with you. You have centered the work that we have to do in a way that just is impossible to replicate. I wish I could take this experience when I go to Sacramento, when I go to Washington, D.C., when I go out in the community, every place for people to see this is what's happening in the education that we do, and that it centers humanity. And you did such a powerful job of centering your humanity. Your story is not my story, but we share so much, even though there is so much unique about us as well. So I have a lot of gratitude. Thank you.
I just want to say really quickly, thank you also to the team who supported with everything, Dee Dee, Kathy, Dr. Carter, the Executive President's Cabinet. Thank you so much. Brenna and the communications team for all of your support, the design of the beautiful t-shirts as well. Thank you so much to the team.
Thank you. Well, and with that, we will come back at 5:21. Take a 5-minute break, 5:23, around that. Thank you. Wow. And
That's a lot of food.
I mean, I hate to do that. We're live. Thank you. Okay, and now we
brought me a bunch of
continue with our regular board meeting. Thank you again for the beautiful meeting that we have here at the College of Continuing Education. So we're going with the approval of our minutes. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes? There were several. Are there any additions or corrections? No, okay, then the minutes stand approved. Are there any, items to remove from the agenda?
No items to remove this evening?
Okay, thank you. The consent calendar allows the Board of Trustees to vote on a group of items that are routine, standard, non-controversial, or self-explanatory. As always, any items in Section 9, Board Policies, and 10, New Business, will automatically be pulled for discussion, as will Section 16, Information Items. Are there any items to pull for discussion in Section 11? See no items to pull. Section 12, I have 1201. In Section 13, I have 1301. Human Resources, Section 14, 1408, 1409, and 1410. Where's my notepad? Section 15, Facilities, Buildings, and Real Estate, there are several. 15.03, 15.04, 15.05, 15.06, 15.07, 15.08, 15.09, 15.15, 15.16, 15.17, and 15.18. Does the Academic Senate wish to pull any items at this time? Thank you. Board, may I have a motion and a second on our consent calendar?
So moved.
I second.
Motion by trustee Senior, second by trustee Jamison. Will the board members in favor please vote aye?
Aye.
Thank you. The item passes unanimously. The board is open to receiving public comments. This is the public comment period of the board agenda. If anyone participating remotely would like to make public comment, please email boardoffice@sdccd.edu for further direction. Remarks are limited to 4 minutes or 32 minutes for a group speaking on the same subject, which will be monitored by the board secretary. Unless it's an emergency, no action will be taken at this board meeting, but your concerns will be referred to the Chancellor and you will be notified of the Chancellor's findings and recommendations. Before we have the public comments read, we will call on the academic senates. And first, we have from City College, Mona Alceremi Espiritu. Welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Board of Trustees, Board President, and thank you, Dr. Tina King and Continuing Education for the stunning presentation. You set the bar very, very high for City College, and hopefully we can at least meet that bar for our presentation next time. I'm going to go right into our resolutions. Since the last meeting, our Senate has passed 2 resolutions. The first is titled Syllabus Support for Housing Insecure Students. The resolution reads, whereas 7,813, or 59% of City College students are experiencing housing insecurities, and 3,575, 27% have experienced homelessness in the last year. And I'm going to take a moment just to let that sit in. That's a staggering number. Whereas the Students for Housing Justice Club was formed to help educate and support the needs of unhoused and housing insecure students. Whereas SHJ advisors continue to hear from at-risk students that they are unaware of the many college and community support services offered. Whereas the first source of information for students is often their course syllabus, and their awareness and use of the resources can help support their overall success. Be it resolved that SHJ, Students for Housing Justice recommends that faculty incorporate the following sample language or QR code into their course syllabus. San Diego City College is committed to helping meet the needs of our diverse student population, including our unhoused or housing insecure students. If you need food, clothing, or shelter, please scan the code below and visit Student Services for specific city and community resources. And then there's a QR code for the Basic Needs Resource Guide. This was written by, sponsored / written by Justin Akers-Chacon, Octavio Garcia, Marianne Peterson, and the Students for Housing Justice. The next is a resolution written by our counseling department. And in this case, I'm just going to read the resolved statements. This is directly applicable to our district, and I think some of you have already seen this resolution floating about, the counseling resolution on the need for education plan codes. Be it resolved that the San Diego City College Academic Senate encourages collaboration with SDCCD administration through the formation of a joint district college work group inclusive of faculty, counseling, and curriculum experts from across the credit colleges, evaluators, and relevant district administrators to collaboratively explore and prioritize feasible approaches for improving the timing of education plan codes, availability for counseling faculty, ideally by the start of fall registration, late March, or as early as practicable. Such exploration may include, but is not limited to, examining catalog and curriculum processing timelines, assessing evaluator staffing and workload distribution, identifying opportunities for additional staffing or support, and exploring workflow models in which data entry or preliminary processing tasks could be supported by designated staff, allowing evaluators to focus on confirmation analysis and decision-making work that requires their specialized expertise. These efforts aim to enhance coordinated student support, improve matriculation accuracy, and promote transfer, degree completion, and overall student success. Be it resolved that the work group be charged with identifying solutions that can be implemented as soon as practicable, with the expectation that improved timing in place no later than the start of fall registration for 2027. And I believe Mesa College passed something similar recently. Next, I have just a quick report related to two events I recently attended. Just this last week and weekend, I attended the ASCCC Spring Plenary event, and the weekend before that, the ASCCC Regional Curriculum Meeting. So I have had a busy couple of weeks, way too much travel, and I don't know how you all do that when you're back-to-back traveling. But I do want to share a couple of really important moments. In the ASCCC regional meeting, there were two main topics. The first is UDL implementation in curriculum or course outlines. I don't know if you're familiar with UDL, but it's universal design, and Title V changes have been made that impact faculty. And thank you. And those changes directly impact faculty courses, our course outlines, and our curriculum committees. And what I learned is there is a very significant amount of work that we need to do in the next few years to become compliant with these Title V changes. And of course, these changes do not come with any funding to help us to do that work or to compensate faculty for the extra workload. The other topic was AI, of course. More specifically, the messaging on our syllabi and our course outlines, the policies at our colleges. And again, the messaging was that we have this work to do that is not compensated. So there is just an excess of state level work that's coming to our tables, that's coming to our colleges, that faculty are charged with implementing. We're charged with making sure that all of this is happening for our students, yet none of it comes with extra funding. And then at plenary, I will be at the next meeting, hopefully with the other Senate presidents, reading some important resolutions, and I'll also be sending them to your email. But I just want to highlight a couple of conversations that I kept reoccurring, because part of plenary is also connecting with colleagues. And I connect with colleagues across the state. We share our challenges, we share our joys. And lately, there's a lot more challenges than joy, unfortunately. Consistently, faculty are discussing the challenges, and I'm not going to say the challenges of AI, because that is a separate challenge, but the challenge of academic integrity in light of AI. And whether or not faculty feel that AI is appropriate to use in the classroom, overall, the faculty I've talked to feel that two things are necessary. And this is actually something that our department has discussed informally, that have come up in conversations in our district, which is, should we be thinking about reducing our online offerings, because it is harder and harder to ensure academic integrity online in fully online courses? And B, what a lot of colleges are considering or already doing is, should we be moving towards, with online courses specifically, in-person assessment, right? Because if we can't ensure whether or not the work is their work, or even whether or not the person who's doing the work is a person, can we ensure, or can we at least have a requirement for some, if not all classes or most, that students come to a proctoring center or to the college and meet in person, whether that means taking an exam or meeting with the faculty member. There's different implications. But I do want to say that I have had this conversation at the district level, and it was very clear to me that this is faculty purview. So I did have this conversation with my chair, and I will actually be doing a pilot in my own classes. So the two classes I'll be teaching next semester are online with an in-person element to them. So we'll be meeting once a month. I don't give exams, so we won't be taking exams. But we will be doing something that will help enrich their experience and ensure that academic integrity is upheld, but also not make them feel policed, and not make me feel like police, because that's not what we want to do. My only concern with this, and this was the concern I heard from other faculty at plenary who are considering models like this, because again, I'm not alone, this is a consideration with other faculty, is that those classes won't fill, right? So I have consistently heard that hybrid classes don't fill as quickly as in-person or online classes, fully online classes. And so that really stifles our ability to innovate, because what this really is innovation, pedagogical innovation. But because we also have to worry about productivity and FTF, there is a good chance that we won't be able to innovate because these courses won't fill as quickly. So I just wanted to drop that note, because this is more work, right? So the faculty that are feeling this across the state, that are dealing with this across the state, are bearing the burden of this additional work of innovating, of figuring out how to ensure that students are learning, right? That's our job. That is our main job. And right now, that job is directly threatened by some of the technology that we're also being encouraged to use. So we're being encouraged to learn this technology, have the AI literacy, but also make sure your students are learning and not using it to cheat, right? So those are tremendous jobs. So again, adding to all of the extra weight, and I really felt that weight at this plenary, that faculty are just burnt out because of this weight. I also want to say that I had conversations with faculty about compensation, right? And learned that our compensation is in San Diego, which is one of the most expensive cities, is significantly lower than a lot of my colleagues. One of my plenary besties who lives all the way up in Lassen, which I don't know if you're familiar, it's like one of the farthest north community colleges. And their salary is significantly higher than I expected, considering the very, very low cost of living. So that really surprised me to hear that there are folks who are living across the state in places where it's very affordable, yet they're getting paid very similarly or sometimes even more. So there are concerns across the board that we are getting more work, we are obligated to do this work because it's coming from the state, either the Chancellor's office or Title V, and we're not being compensated. And then in addition to that, San Diego is at the most disadvantaged because of the tremendous cost of living, one of the highest costs of living in the state. And so we're suffering more than a lot of other places because we are doing the same work, doing all this extra work, yet we're not experiencing any increase in compensation, both for the work and for the cost of living. So I will end there, and thank you for your time. I hope we get back today before 8 o'clock.
Thank you. And now from Mesa College, do we have a representative? Yes, I know it wasn't. Welcome to see you again.
Yeah, I'm not Mary. Sorry. Yeah, no, good to be back. Mary did write me some notes, and I also plagiarized some notes from Dr. Hans. So the San Diego Mesa College Academic Senate would like to announce that our very own Dr. Idiama Jonah has won the 2025-26 Regina Stanbeck Stroud IDEAA Award. ASCCC, yes. ASCCC had a very competitive pool of candidates this year, and the award committee noted that Idiama's nomination packet demonstrated her dedication to serving our diverse student population and helping our students overcome the barriers to their education. The committee highlighted Idiama's work as the equity librarian and DEIA coordinator as notable reasons for honoring her with this award. Her work in these roles has provided a scaffold to support student success while increasing data literacy. This award is supported annually by the Foundation for California Community Colleges. It honors committed faculty who consistently rise to meet the challenges our students face. Congratulations, Dr. Jonah. And this is a statewide award, all 116 community colleges. And it seems to me it wasn't that long ago that Dr. Veronica Garachi from Mesa College also won. Not to brag or anything. But we had a couple resolutions at Mesa recently, passed at the ASCCC meeting. The first one, clarification, recognition, and inclusion of specific course designators within the 4 autonomous core disciplines, was co-authored by Dr. Takima Mayasa, Mesa College faculty in Black Studies. The resolution calls for the ASCCC to recognize and honor course designators such as FILI, F-I-L-I, FILAM, Phil, Filipino American Studies, and KUMI for Kumeyaay Studies as being part of one of the 4 autonomous disciplines commonly referred to as ethnic studies. We would like to thank Mona. Where's Mona? Just sat down. We want to thank Mona for her support through motioning this resolution to be accepted by acclamation at the meeting. We appreciate the district-wide collaborative effort. Furthermore, the other resolution entitled Study the Unified Faculty Model in Place in British Columbia in Terms of Academic Freedom and Student Success, very snappy, was written by a longtime Mesa faculty member, Jeff Johnson. This resolution calls for the ASCCC to conduct a study of the impact of the Unified Faculty Model in place in British Columbia community colleges on protecting academic freedom and student success rates. Now, Mesa College, we recently had our academic senate elections. I am pleased to announce that the president-elect is Professor Caitlin Choi. Her term will begin July 1st, and I get to bow out. And after serving for a year, she will follow Mary Gwynn as the new Mesa College Academic Senate president. She will be great. Also, the 7th annual Black Student Success Week is scheduled at Mesa for April 20 to 24. This year's theme is Revolution, Redefining Black Student Success. The 2026 Black Student Success Week shifts from institutional designators to an overall structural transformation and calls for a deliberate redefinition of who higher education serves, how it serves, and who controls the narrative of Black student success. which I think kind of ties in with what we heard earlier too, for all students. The Mesa College 33rd Annual Scholarship Award ceremony will be on April 29th. We will celebrate the achievements of our students and honor the generosity of our donors. And today was a big day at Mesa. Today was our Festival of Colors, an annual event we've had for many years. It is part of our Cultural Unity Week, in which we celebrate culture, community, and connection. The week has featured vibrant performances, free food, and joyful celebration of our diverse cultures. Featured events include African drum call, traditional Aztec dancers, ballet folklorico, dragon and lion dancers, and more. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Do we have Rodrigo Gomez from Miramar College?
He is online, and I am promoting him to a panelist right now, so he'll be able to join us.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hello, board. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great. Thank you. Let me just pull up my notes here. Apologies that I can't be there with you today, especially with the 100 plus types of food that were there. But my 9-year-old daughter broke her arm, so I got to be home. I'd like to start by reporting some stuff going on at the college that's quite positive. So there's an event coming up called Community Voices, a celebration of poetry and community that is very much in the spirit of what we just witnessed here. Continuing ed campus here for doing such an amazing job with the storytelling. And I was at the Phi Theta Kappa event earlier today at the Honor Society, and I got to hear a story just like what we heard here. Stories that don't need to be justified and that can showcase the awesomeness of every single individual, the individual story. So that story that I heard echoed my own Latin American male sort of entering the academic world. And so hearing the stories there today, thank you very much for that presentation. Also on that positive side, good news from the resolution that passed at the ASCCC. I was very happy to support a resolution that I'm going to read here now on ethnic studies. It was adopted by acclamation at the last vote that we had, and it was specifically 101.01, clarification, recognition, and inclusion of specific course designators within the 4 autonomous core disciplines in the ethnic studies category. So whereas within the past 50 years, courses with specific cultural content and identifiers, course designators such as FILI, FILAM, FIL, Filipino American Studies, KUMI, Kumeyaay Studies, and any course designator that represents American, Indian, Native American, sovereign, tribal nations were developed and are recognized to date as belonging to one of the 4 autonomous disciplines: African American Studies, Asian American Studies, American, Indian, Native American Studies, and Chicanx, Latino Latinx Studies, commonly referred to as ethnic studies. Whereas these courses with specific ethnic foci and corresponding course designators were created prior to the passage of AB 1460, Weber 2020, of which may appear in various institutional forms and reflect the historical development of their respective disciplines of study. And whereas these courses having long-standing established articulation agreements and approvals with the California State University and University of California campuses, including those recognized in California General Education Transfer Curriculum, then resolved that the Academic Senate for California Community Colleges work with the California Community College Chancellor's Office and the California Community College Ethnic Studies Faculty Council to advocate for the Intersegmental Committee of Academic Senates, the University of California Office of the President, and the California State University Chancellor's Office to formally retain and recognize course designators that existed prior to AB 1460, such as FILI, FILAM, KUMY, as well as any course designator representing American, Indian, Native American, sovereign tribal nations as belonging to one of the 4 autonomous disciplines commonly referred to as ethnic studies. And the courses bearing these ethnic focused designators within these disciplines have their existing designators, articulation agreements, and approved California General Education Transfer Curriculum status retained and recognized. And so that resolution passed by acclamation. So, great job to the team that put that together. And, much love to the to the voters that voted in favor. As far as Senate business, we, following the board's vote on 4-6 to rename the campus Cesar Chavez to Harbor View, the Miramar Academic Senate wanted me to present Gaia's statement in favor of renaming naming the campus after Dolores Huerta, and wanted to focus on the idea of a precautionary fallacy of not using the name, and because there might be some future wrongdoing noted in some way, that should not deter the renaming of the campus to Dolores Huerta in favor of all the work that she's done, and again the strength of that movement and the powerful storytelling that still has, despite the atrocities committed by Cesar Chavez. The campus safety and free speech were also an ongoing discussion. So we've recently at Miramar had Turning Point USA show up on campus and host signs that are rhetorically charged. And so there's conversations about how we can handle these situations and whether or not there is. But I'm bringing it here just for reference for what we've discussed. And the last resolution that we had was actually on the last discussion that we had was actually on agentic AI. So like our colleagues at Citi, we are discussing actively this technology. In this specific case, we are looking at agentic AI through discussions of Element 451 and the ongoing pilot of that CRM, customer relationship management tool, which is being used in counseling. There's faculty concern over the use of that tool in situations that might involve infringement of IP in some kind regarding materials that we create. And in any case, there really is no need, there has been no need for intellectual property when it comes to pedagogy or things of that nature. But given the power of these technologies, how they work, how they can adopt the voice of the individual, take on the syntax and discourse of the user, then there is concern over the data that's uploaded into these tools. Currently, that is not happening. It's simply sort of forward-thinking concern about what might happen with our intellectual property in the classroom as faculty who design curriculum, et cetera. So I share that concern with all of you from Miramar College, and that is all. Thank you.
Thank you, Rodrigo. And now we go to the College of Continuing Education, Richard Weinroth. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. Richard Weinroth, College of Continuing Education. First, I'd like to take the moment to just say how honored I am to be part of the college. Starting with Dr. Anthony Thomas's words, they were just so beautiful. And then hearing how Dean Roberta Krause came from being an ESL student to now being a member of the deans, it's amazing. Spencer Love, of course, I was very touched. As Trustee Milgram said, there's no way to say how touched those words were for me. And last, for Danny Essex, he's just an amazing person. Talking about someone who just hits the ground and gets up again multiple times. So I just love knowing that's what CTE, what our college provides for people, the opportunity to keep reincarnating, finding out who they are. I want to take a moment to acknowledge a professor at our college. Professor Esteban Alvarado is championing our DEI committee and has a book group. He has also brought to us the speaker, Loretta J. Ross, and we're reading this book. And I want to thank Dr. King also because it's through the funding that we are able to have these books. So thank you, Dr. King. How to Start Making Change with Those You'd Rather Cancel. I've been reading the book. I think it's just written in such an open, wonderful way that I'm really grateful that we're using this book. I've just come back, as Mona, my colleague, had said, from the spring plenary. I was accompanied by Dr. Kelly Metz-Matthews, our vice president, and by Kim Salerno, our secretary. So it was an honor to be there. I'd like to share a few of the resolutions that were at the spring plenary of interest. The first one I'd like to share is strengthening non-credit student pathways to credit-bearing academic programs. What this resolution states is the importance of our programs here, our non-credit. But before I do this, I want to take a moment to thank this district. We're one of the few, perhaps 3 districts in the whole state that recognize non-credit as critically important. We have a standalone college. You know, that doesn't happen across the state. They're ushered, they're kind of put in a little box. We're not. This district recognized that college and continuing education must have a full presence. And I say that knowing the history, I frankly have been here a little bit of time, that there was a point they wanted to make us disappear. They actually wanted the continuing ed program to no longer be a standalone. And it was really the wisdom of this board through generations of who sat before us, and perhaps Dr. Maria Nieto Senor, you were here, that people wanted no longer to have continuing ed. And we were allowed, and we've blossomed, we've thrived, and I just appreciate the board for that. So now I'd like to speak to what the resolve says. It says that, you know, the community colleges, Chancellor's office, we're asking to develop materials to be developed statewide that raise awareness about the rigor of our non-credit programs. This is so important because people sometimes dismiss non-credit and they go, and we go, you know, our classes matter. Our faculty do great work, and this is what we're talking about. Then that our programs offer various pathways, that non-credit students utilize the transition to credit-bearing programs. We're a feeder. We are the biggest obvious way that students go to the credit is from our non-credit programs. And resolved that the community college chancellor's office develop student support resource toolkit for non-credit adults continuing education that utilize the best support for our non-credit students who are preparing to transition to credit academic programs or currently completing credit-bearing coursework. So I'm just honored that that was passed and I was able to speak at the mic and explain how really critically important it is to do whatever we can to step up and recognize that our non-credit students make a difference. So that was a real honor for me to be there. The next one I'd like to call attention to is, I'll just read the resolve. This one is supporting academic freedom and distance education, as was mentioned by my colleague Rodrigo a moment ago. And what we're asking is something that I think Vice Chancellor Toplin would be happy to hear. What we're saying is that we want to address the integrity and distance education, including standards for responding to AI misuse, such as strategies to prevent fraudulent enrollment and recommendations for assessment design to protect the value, credibility, and transferability of our coursework. So what we're really saying is, we know there's an issue, we wanted to get in the front of it. So people who are gonna say, is it equal, is it good? We're saying, yes, it is, and we wanna set the standard before someone else does. The next one I'd like to share with you is, again, a resolve, and this is also referring to AI, and it says that we'd like to provide secure, accessible, appropriate technology solutions, and we're asking this to come from the California Community College Chancellor's Office. This is really important because there are 116 colleges and we're all creating a solution, but we want the Chancellor's Office to help champion this work so we get the funding and we get the support, so we don't each have to create a solution to how to do this work to make it accessible and the technology solutions. The next one I'd like to draw to is support for International Women's Day. This was passed by acclamation, and the resolves are that we, the Academic Center for California Community Colleges, work with our partners, external and legislators, to advocate for the designation of International Women's Day as an official state holiday in California. And this is with the feasibility of observing March 8th as a paid holiday for employees for the California community colleges. And again, I think it's wonderful we lift up the voices of all of our non-credit. You know, I just have to say this, when we talk about women, the majority of our students, over 60%, are women. So when we raise up women voices, we're recognizing who our students are. The next one I'd like to draw attention to is expanding our baccalaureate design degree programs. And what the resolves really ask for, I'm going to go to the one resolve. It's to advocate for the expansion of affordable, accessible community college baccalaureate programs as a vital mechanism for serving place-bound students and closing the statewide degree gap. You know, Dr. Constance Carroll was the original, for me, leader in this and champion why baccalaureates are so important. Just as it says here, because our students are place-bound. Many of them can't move to another place, or frankly, some of the colleges are so impacted. So I was very honored to be able to support this motion to support our baccalaureate, expansion of our baccalaureate programs. The next one I'd like to draw attention to is the high cost for our CTE programs. And we are stating that it's critical that these programs are funded, that we protect the funding. At non-credit, we know how important CTE programs are. We do CTE programs, but they're not cheap. We know that. We know we're grateful for the bond money, which is helping us, but there's really important work that can be done to expand our program. So we're asking for higher education to avoid shifting our financial to avoid shifting the financial burden onto us. In other words, when things are tough, don't put it on the local. Keep giving us the money. Don't take away our funding that we need, that's been coming to us, the funding streams for CTE, technical workforce funding streams. When those are reduced and we eliminate possibilities for students. So again, I'm very happy to be able to hear that we passed that, because we're supporting students' futures by supporting our CTE programs. And that's the end of my report. Again, it was a pleasure to be there and an opportunity to represent our San Diego College Continuing Education. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. Okay, now we will call on our classified senates for their update. Do we have? No, okay, we don't have a report. It's okay. Anyone with a comment card, Amanda?
Oh, yes.
No. Oh, yes.
So first we have Courtney McClare.
Hello, good evening, Chancellor Smith and Board of Trustees. I'm here representing the San Diego Management Association. I am currently serving as the treasurer, and today we have 3 updates. The first one, we'd like to invite you to our annual event, which is rescheduled for June 4th. It will be from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. at Tom's Lighthouse. A formal invitation will be forthcoming to you all. The second is the Management Association is currently in the process of reviewing several of the district's proposed APs. This includes the AP 3050, which is Institutional Code of Ethics. The Management Association is interested in the application of similar policies at other local community colleges and has recommendations for improvements and safeguards against misuse of such policies. And lastly, as we close out our fiscal year for 25-26, we are opening our 26-28 election year, and we have 5 current open positions. We thank the board for your continued leadership and support, and we look forward to continued collaboration in the service of healthy, engaged, and effective management workforce. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. The next several items all have several speakers. So I'm going to call at least 5 speakers so that you can line up at the lectern to kind of save time. So the first item will be Mark Grable, Annette Delozier, Christian Crow, Brian Mackus, and Jennifer Chavero.
Good afternoon, Board of Trustees and Chancellor Smith. My name is Mark Grabiel, and I am here tonight as the newly elected president of the Supervisory and Professional Administrators Association to share with you some of the lived experiences SPA has had with the reduced workweek pilot. I'm joined by several colleagues who will share their specific perspectives, but I would like to provide the opening context for our association. The personal data we collected from our members was overwhelmingly positive. For those of us in demanding roles, this pilot provided a rare opportunity to recalibrate. Members reported a significant increase in overall well-being, able to do self-care, and a decrease of the mental fog associated with long commutes, traditional 40-hour-plus work weeks, and that fatigue. It allowed our members to be more present with their families. Parents, for the first time this academic year, could pick up their children from school on Fridays. I personally was able to go see my 9-year-old niece's softball practice on a Friday at 2 p.m. Members were able to cook with their families more, support their partners when they typically don't, with household cleaning. Caregivers and those with health responsibilities could meet their personal obligations without feeling that they were compromising their professional excellence. This is how we truly live the phrase, be, belong, become. From a professional standpoint, the results were equally compelling. As supervisors, many of us observed that our teams, SPA members included in that team, did not just maintain productivity, they became more intentional. The pilot encouraged us to leverage project tools and team coordination more effectively and with purpose. Anecdotally, we saw a desire to be fully available during core hours. In demanding student-facing roles, this refreshed energy and provided a safeguard against burnout and turnover that we think long-term will better ensure a continuity of care that our students deserve. However, a pilot means to reveal challenges as well as successes. To move from a pilot to a sustainable district-wide strategy, we must address the effects and impacts beyond AFT classified professionals. The execution requires SPA's presence for several critical reasons. First, workload equity. We must ensure that a reduced work week is applied consistently. We have concerns regarding workload creep, especially in cases of high volume legislative compliance or high student-facing demands that may result in duties being redistributed rather than reorganized. Operational alignment, ensuring that services, especially those that then involve evenings and weekend events, are not negatively impacted. And then parity and protection. Our members have expressed concerns about picking up the remaining classified work or duties being passed upwards when other units' hours are reduced. We must ensure proper distribution of duties or backfilling where appropriate, so that a reduced work week doesn't accidentally become non-AFT classified, having to do that work instead of the supervisory or managerial work that their positions require. SPA is encouraged by what we have seen. We believe that a reduced hour structure can support effective outcomes and strengthen staff retention. However, because the schedule does not fit every department identically, we look forward to evaluating these operational needs individually and formally. We are ready to work with the district to ensure that any permanent shift in work hours is equitable, sustainable, and professionally bargained to protect the excellence of our supervisors and the students we serve. However, I am concerned about the prioritization the district will give SPA towards this important topic with the current challenges and rate that we're seeing with our collective bargaining agreement negotiations right now. I do want to shout out for some of those members SPA members that are here this afternoon for this year, as well as now turn to my colleagues to let them share with you their experience they had with the pilot.
Thank you, Mark, and thank you, Board of Trustees and Chancellor Smith, for this opportunity for us to share our experiences and the experiences of those members that have come to us. From my experience, I'd say that the first day I turned off my computer at noon, and I was pleasantly surprised to see that it was still light outside when I was off work. I did some cleaning around the house. I did a couple things and was then not sure what I should do because I'm so used to working. But luckily on Fridays, I volunteer for a rescue, and so I was able to actually go to my shift on time. Normally I'm an hour late because of when work normally ends. I think the second week, noon was coming up, and I told myself, just 15 more minutes, just 15 more minutes. For those of us that have worked and are very passionate about our work, it is difficult to stop. But it is something that can be very rewarding. I thought about I can schedule time with my son or go to the movies with my boyfriend, or I'm on a pool team. I can go and practice pool, which is I usually never have time to do. all these things I thought about. I think, though, I mostly just sat and took some breaths and played games on my phone. But it was something that I normally don't have time to do. So it was just great to have some breathing time. Of course, as Mark mentioned, there is also, although there was many positive, the majority was positive, we do know that this won't necessarily work or is more of a challenge for some of our other areas. Two folks that presented to us was a supervisor in a child development center, where they have to remain open when there's children there. So that's one challenge. And another was a supervisor in stockroom. So they have deliveries that come, and if they're not open, those deliveries could be left anywhere outside. So those are things that I think this pilot, hopefully with the results from it and the findings, we can see where those challenges are, potentially look at where we have a disparity in our staffing, and where we can find resources or move folks around if needed, but find where we can make it an equitable new schedule, if that's something that is decided. But definitely, it was a great opportunity, and it was very good to sit with our members. We had a few lunchtime chats where the members would come and let us know how they're doing. So it was very eye-opening, I'd say, and we do appreciate that opportunity. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Kristen Krogh, and I'm the supervisor for tutoring at Mesa College. I'm here tonight as a member of the SPA unit, and I just wanted to express my appreciation for the 36-hour work week pilot. I know that this pilot required tremendous planning and coordination to bring to fruition, and I'm really grateful for the district's leadership in that. The pilot coincided with a really busy and exciting time in my program in tutoring, as we partnered with the district to implement a new attendance tracking and data collection system to better serve our students and to collect better data. Throughout the period, I saw clear evidence that complex and really time-intensive projects could be successfully carried out within the reduced work week, while still maintaining our incredibly high standards for student success and support. In fact, 94% of the students who completed a post-session survey during this period reported that they were likely or very likely to apply what they had learned in their tutoring session, and also an equal percentage said that they were likely or very likely to return to tutoring in the future. Findings that reflect really strong student support and engagement, as well as an employee performance during this time. I also found that the reduced work week strengthened my team's effectiveness. The success of our tutoring centers really depends on skilled staff who can respond to complex student needs every day. And with the shorter work week, my team was able to maintain their energy and focus, and able to provide the consistent, high-quality support without compromising access or outcomes for students. I know it also made a very meaningful difference in employees' abilities to manage personal and family responsibilities as well. I heard about how the flexibility helped my team members attend to healthcare needs, balance family obligations, and make time for reflection, growth, personal learning, factors that all sustain performance and innovation. All of this combined, the evidence really suggests that the benefits are not incidental. I know that they're the result of really hard work, intentional design, and ongoing refinement. And this is something that this pilot lays the groundwork for. We know that there will be some challenges in identifying areas where it will be harder to implement, and so creativity will definitely come into play. But building on that, I would like to highlight the importance of parity across employee groups. Consistency in how we support employees will be really helpful for collaboration, for organizational cohesion, and for equity across the units. In closing, the reduced work week is more than a benefit. It's really a strategic investment. When we strengthen our employees' capacity to show up and do the work as well as possible, we really strengthen the quality of the support that we provide to our students. Thank you again so much for your leadership in this pilot and for the opportunity to speak tonight. I'm really looking forward to seeing the results of the pilot and the next steps the district decides to take. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Brian Mackus. I'm an instructional supervisor at Mesa College. Thank you for the opportunity to speak about this. When SPA first reached out to find folks to talk about the impact of the 36-hour workweek pilot, I wrote back immediately, because as someone who's been dealing with chronic health problems for a very long time within the district, most of my time outside of work is spent waiting in a Kaiser waiting room. So whether it's extra 4 hours, extra 8 hours, that allows me to become a person again. And, during this time, throughout the pilot, I was able to resume some of the activities I did before I encountered health problems. Over this spring, I fostered a dog. I can show you pictures. He's very cute. Got him out of the rescue. And so, but, that's not necessarily why it matters for you all, right? But in terms of the actual productivity, when I come into work, my staff observably says, wow, you have a pep in your step. You have energy again. You are refreshed, and I am able to be productive at my job. And I also have seen it within the classified professionals that I work alongside, that they are able to do their jobs well, better than they have in a very long time. I was a community college graduate. I don't want to say what decade that was in, but I know what it is like to experience a frontline employee who is burned out as a student, and to have that experience of dealing with someone who is tired and just wants to move you out of their office versus someone who is active, engaged, and enthusiastic and ready to work with you. And when we empower our employees to be refreshed, to be present, to be able to do their job, that's when we're able to make a wonderful experience for all of our students. As an instructional supervisor, the folks who work for me are some of the first humans that students see on campus. That might be the first tutor they see in a day, the first mentor they meet, or they might be the last person they see when they're headed home. So we're really about bookending that experience. And in a lot of ways, what has made all of us successful as supervisors is the fact that we inherently pass trust onto our teams, right? My employees are working right now without me being there because I trust them. And it makes sense for us when classified professionals tell us we can get this job done, the job that we're asking them to do, in 40 hours. They tell us that it can be done in 32. We have to trust them, right? Just as management extends trust to us, we extend trust to classified professionals. And you've heard some of the challenges, and those are very real. But if you've ever had to take psychiatric medicine or watch a Stanley Kubrick film, the beginning of it is the worst, right? The challenges are going to be there at the beginning, but the benefits long-term outweigh those costs. We've heard about, we had a very condensed pilot. It was very one-size-fits-all. There are other departments that, have other ways that they can solve these problems, as we've heard. So just really in conclusion, I'm very grateful that, this was an opportunity that we had. And I would implore all of us to, really think about ways that we could extend this and make this permanent going into the future. So thank you for your time.
Good evening, Board of Trustees, Chancellor Smith. My name is Jennifer Chavero, and I had the opportunity to participate in the 36-hour workweek pilot. I just want to start by expressing my gratitude for being included in the pilot and also share my strong support for continuing this effort. At the end of 2025, I was involved in an accident, and during the pilot program, the reduced schedule made a meaningful difference in my recovery. I was able to attend necessary medical appointments, such as chiropractic care and physical therapy, without having to miss work or fall behind. That flexibility allowed me to focus on healing while maintaining my professional responsibilities. In my division, within facilities management, remote work is not really an option, unlike other areas within the district. Because of that, this pilot had an even greater impact on my work-life balance. Instead of spending 30 to 60 minutes commuting each way, the shorter Fridays for me meant a reduced traffic commute, which allowed me to also enjoy a lot more time outdoors, which I think really helped me in my healing, both physically and mentally recover. Professionally, I also noticed improvements within my department. Communication was a lot more intentional. We were a lot more thoughtful about how we used our time. We prioritized workloads, streamlined meetings, and made sure that the right people were present when needed. The pilot program also encouraged us to just be more efficient. Like my colleagues have mentioned, I understand that there's a lot of planning and coordination that is still needed to make this program long-term and sustainable. However, from my experience and conversations with colleagues, the pilot really demonstrated that it's possible to maintain productivity while improving employee well-being. On behalf of SPA, I respectfully encourage the district to continue exploring and implementing the reduced work week. In a way that is equitable, sustainable, and supportive for both our staff and our students. Thank you.
Thank you. For our next group, the first 4 speakers are Irina Stoymirovich, Pablo Martin, Christina Crosby, and Konstantina Kano.
I guess most of my fellow immigrants are gone, so I will just then address you guys. Good evening, members of the board and Chancellor Smith. Is this good? You can hear me? Okay. So my name is Irena Stoymirovich. I'm a chair of Physical Sciences Department at Mesa College. Last year, I stood at this podium to speak about faculty salaries being among the lowest in the state and resulting struggles facing my department. A department that encompasses engineering, physics, geology, astronomy, and physical sciences. So some of our most sick majors. I come here today not out of habit, but out of a profound sense of urgency and, frankly, disappointment in our collective priorities. We talk a lot about the equity and social justice in this district, but let's look at the actual math of our faculty hiring and retention. Faculty with master's and PhD degrees are still being hired at starting salaries between $69,000 and $89,000 per year, even when they come with extensive teaching and experience in high-demand STEM fields. For comparison, San Diego State engineering graduates with only bachelor's degrees often start their first jobs at higher salaries than what we are willing to pay an engineering faculty in our district. Last year, I came here because we lost our first Hispanic faculty member in physics. Joseph Martinez was a brilliant educator who was being paid $69,000 here in San Diego, but he was offered the exact same job in San Bernardino for $107,000. He did what any rational professional would do. He left because he could not afford his rent here. Now, after 1 year of having a geology professor in my department, we are about to lose that female professor in geology. Her name is Dr. Ashley Manning-Berg, and she's currently paid $89,000 in our district, while multiple neighboring schools are offering her $120,000. During his recent visit to Mesa, Chancellor Smith spoke about raising the salaries of marginalized groups as his primary objective. It is a well-documented reality that female PhD scientists and minority scholars are more represented in the community college system than in the traditional research universities. By keeping our salaries at the bottom of the state of California, the district is not lifting academic marginalized groups. It is exploiting them to fund a bloating management cost that has doubled in less than 10 years. When we lose faculty, we are not just losing an employee. We are losing the heart of student support. Faculty are the permanent backbone of this college, staying for decades to ensure student and program success. We all see chancellors come and go, we see deans come and go, but faculty stay for 20, 30 years to build the programs and support students. Let me tell you what we are about to lose with Dr. Manningberg leaving my department. When our DSPS department was unable to provide the support needed for a blind student in her classes, she did not give up. She spent her own time, unpaid and unprompted, developing tactile models and specialized instructions so that students can succeed. She learned the Braille. I don't think I will have a time to do that. She took her summer coming unpaid to do that. Because of her expertise as a carbonated sedimentologist, she was invited to give a scientific talk at San Diego State University. But we are a group, right? We have half an hour.
No.
Oh, well, I'll need a little bit more. They were so impressed that San Diego State faculty have sought her out for deep experimental education.
Your time is up.
Hello, everybody. I would say it's nice to be back, but I like not having to come to these meetings, frankly. As a full-time faculty member, I get to focus on my students, and I have a lot of grading I should be doing now. But it is nice to see you, and thanks for letting me speak here tonight, Board and Chancellor. First, before I continue with the Arena's statement, I just want to thank the Board for their dedication to our students, inclusion, diversity, equity, and accessibility, and just excellence in general. I really do see that, and I believe it, despite the concerns raised here, that I will continue to proceed with. And kudos and shout out to the folks in Arena's team that have helped to kind of lead this effort. Not kind of, but lead this effort, so thank you. All right, so Dr. Manningberg is currently revamping MESA's curriculum to align with SDSU's new BS in environmental science that has 400 majors. SDSU is asking her to offer more frequently particular courses and new labs. This means we will serve more students at MESA. Dr. Manningberg is working directly with SDSU faculty in developing the curriculum for new state and MESA courses as well. SDSU faculty are now collaborating with Professor Manningberg to integrate MESA students into undergraduate research projects and field trips. A crucial recruitment tool for minority and first-generation science students, the geology department at SDSU emphasizes field trips and hands-on learning outdoors. That is not something we can do at SDCCD with our resources. Dr. Manningberg is the gold standard of academic excellence, yet the district treats her as replaceable rather than a scholar to be retained. There was a time when instruction and academic support were undisputed priorities of the SDCCD. Today, those priorities have shifted toward administrative growth, and that's in my comment too, if I get to it. Contract faculty have not received a COLA adjustment to their salaries in 2 years. A question for the board from Irena. As a department chair, I have to ask, why should I continue to participate in these hiring committees? Why should my faculty and I spend hundreds of hours searching for the best and brightest just to watch them leave 12 months later? Do you truly understand the impact this has on our programs? When faculty leave, the workload on those of us who remain doubles. We are the ones staying late to write the program reviews, assess CLOs, and keep the disciplines alive for our students. My department, Irena's department, will be left with no contract geology faculty. None of us are capable of maintaining these bridges Dr. Manningberg built. Our students will lose opportunities. Instruction is the core mission of this district, yet educators are currently its lowest priority. If we intend to save our programs, we must stop devaluing the very expertise required to lead them. Do I have much time left?
You have 1 minute and 43 seconds.
Awesome. I'm also here for all of that. Thanks for the specifics to share. But really to ask that the district focus on supporting those of us that interface directly with our students, right? Why we're here. that's why we're here. And it's so easy to forget that. And it's easy to remember when you're in the classroom, but it's hard. We get distracted sometimes. And I think that distraction shows in the doubling of administrative jobs and budgets in the last 10 years. I keep seeing new jobs for over the last several years for a new administrator of this, a new support person for that, and it's like, that's great. Where's my support? Where's the support for the LEAD programs, for the AAPI students, for Puente? We've got a new Puente program that was just approved, and it's awesome. We're so psyched. We've got a Pearl program for our Asian American and Pacific Islander students. We're looking at having Umoja as well. But to help start and run that Puente program, and it's not easy, they're offering a 20% reassignment to the English co-coordinator, and I imagine a 20% reassignment to the counselor. That's nowhere near enough time to do that job well, but they'll do it, and they'll probably do it, twice or three times the amount of work that they're being paid for to do it. I'd like to see more faculty full-time positions and more reassignment for all the different programs we have to support students. There's so many, and there's so many things that are not getting done as well as they could be, or getting done by the few folks that are willing to do the moving and shaking and say, yeah, I'll do it, yeah, I'll do it, yeah, I'll do it. And they just don't have the time, and their personal health suffers, their personal family life suffers. I've seen it, so it's a lot. Finally, I'll say, I think it's important that we value professional development. I went back to get a second master's degree so I could teach more classes and get paid more. Thank you very much.
So good evening. If student success is truly a priority our district says it is, then we need to talk honestly about what makes that success possible. And that's faculty having time, energy, and stability to actually support students. Let's look at where faculty time is spent. And know that these numbers are not opinion. They come from published research with objectively measured time allotments for our responsibilities, sources I'd be happy to share. A full-time faculty member may be required to reserve an average, or on average, 15 hours each week for being in class, 5 hours in office hours, 10 on emails, 7 on class preparation, 2 in administrative meetings, and if we stop just there and add up all of those hours so far, we're already at 39 hours total for the week. But think about what's still missing, because clearly that doesn't include everything that we do. Where is the time for grading? Where is the time for mentoring students, for giving meaningful feedback, for checking in when a student is struggling? Where is the time to provide the kind of support this district says it values? Teaching is not what it was 40 years ago, before email, before Canvas, before the many technological and institutional demands that are now built into this job. But our teaching load has never been meaningfully adjusted to account for all of these added responsibilities. We were already at a full-time 40-hour week, and then these things were just piled on year after year, to the point where we now have less than an hour to devote to true student care and support. And so to do our jobs, we have to go over 40 hours if we want to do them well, meaning we are required to provide uncompensated free labor. Required to provide uncompensated free labor. There's a word for that, but let's talk more about our compensation. In addition to being overworked, faculty must manage the stress of going home and trying to make ends meet. We are in one of the highest cost of living cities in California, ranked 5th in the state, while our district has consistently ranked among the lowest paying districts in California, falling as low as 69th out of 72. 5th most expensive city in the state, 3rd from the bottom in our pay. That means faculty are left trying to serve students while also worrying about whether they themselves can afford to remain in the very community they serve. When people are overextended, underpaid, and asked to keep absorbing more and more, something eventually has to give. And that is ultimately at the expense of our students. They receive less time, less care, and less stability than they deserve, less than what our district has promised to provide them. Faculty has been carrying this district through our commitment and sacrifice because we care so much about our students. We care about this district, a district that doesn't seem to share that same care back towards us. And there is only so long you can keep asking people to overcome unsustainable conditions before there is simply nothing left to give. So please, help us, help our students, because we have now reached a point of crisis and something must be done. You must support what faculty are desperately pleading for here, because for the sake of our students, It's necessary.
Good evening. I want to share my experience as a part-time instructor in the district, which there are more than 2,000 of us, because conversation about transparency, compensation, and work conditions are not abstract to me. They are personal. For nearly 25 years, I have taught in this district. I stayed because I believed in what education can do. I saw what limited access to education meant for my own mother and how it shaped her life, opportunities, or lack thereof. That experience shaped my commitment to my students. Like many part-time faculty, I built my life semester by semester without stability. I delayed building a family. And now, later in life, that opportunity has passed. I kept waiting for financial security that never came. I supported myself through teaching while giving countless unpaid hours to committees, honor courses, and program work. I stepped forward whenever the department needed support. I received recognition and awards, and that meant a deal to me. But they did not change my financial reality. I even expanded my qualifications and can now teach 3 disciplines, yet that still has not brought real security. 10 years ago, I experienced a health crisis that affected my physical health, my mental and emotional strength. Even then, I continued teaching because I believe in the responsibility we educators carry. There were moments when I knew I could not give my students what they truly deserved, and no instructor should have to choose between protecting their health and continuing to serve their students. Just as I began to recover, the pandemic set me back. I struggled deeply and experienced a serious depression, but I kept teaching because my students needed stability. During that time, many faculty were already stretched beyond their limits and still expected to give more with fewer resources and less support. Now that my health has improved, I understand something clearly. I cannot continue giving endlessly without stability or fairness. I know I am not alone. I've seen colleagues leave the profession from exhaustion. I have seen colleagues placed on disability. I have seen colleagues travel hours each day to teach a single class. I have seen single parents carry both family responsibilities and teaching responsibilities with very little support. These are not isolated stories. These are working conditions, and let me remind you, of more than 2,000 adjunct instructors. This is why transparency in negotiation matters. Faculty deserve to see decisions that affect our ability to remain in the classroom. Transparency builds trust and respects the people doing the daily work that supports students. Compensation also matters. San Diego is one of the most expensive regions in the country. Many part-time faculty remain only because we believe in our students. When salaries do not keep pace with the cost of living, experienced faculty leave. Students lose stability and mentorship. We cannot forget working conditions for faculty are learning conditions for students. When instructors are supported, students benefit. I am still here after 25 years because I believe in my students and I believe in this institution. As the district model reminds us, we can be ourselves. We belong here. We want strong students, together we can become stronger, but commitment alone cannot sustain faculty forever. If we want strong student outcomes, we must start by creating conditions that allow educators to remain in the profession. Thank you for your time.
The next 4 speakers are Narelle Martinez, Annette Miner for Anonymous, Miriam Mina, and Mona Alsorami Spiritu.
Buenas tardes, good evening. My name is Nora Martinez. I'm professor of Chicano Studies and English for San Diego City College. So I just want to start first by saying that I love my profession. I love teaching. I'm passionate about the subjects that I teach. I love my students, but I'm here to tell my truth. And the truth is that I'm unhappy working in this district. I feel devalued, I feel exploited, I feel overworked. I find myself counting the days, months, and years until I can retire. After this semester, I have 17 more years to go, and it gives me anxiety, to be honest. Although I think it's normal to some extent to feel this way about our jobs throughout our careers. I think a lot of people feel this way, but I shouldn't feel this way so early in my career. This semester, I complete my 8th year as a full-time faculty and the 10th year total in the district. And I'm sorry I didn't bring my glasses, so please forgive me. So I'm not the only one who is experiencing low morale. And it's not just me. A lot of us feel this way. And I think it's important for the board and top administrators to know how faculty feel, because frankly, I feel like you are disconnected. We're overworked and underpaid. It's expensive to live in San Diego, as my colleagues have just stated. Our salaries are not keeping up with the cost of living in San Diego. While state funding and policies that impact budgets are largely out of the district's control, the district's administration bloat is problematic. The growth of administrator positions has outpaced faculty and classified professionals. Management grew, according to some research we did, from 6.89% of the total budget to 11.566% in 2024 to 2025. And faculty have declined from 57.3% to 53.084%. This has resulted in more than 11 million removed from the faculty salary schedule. We're also desperately in need of more full-time faculty positions, and with our current salary, it's becoming more difficult to attract talent and retain faculty. The other issue that I want to address is that we need your help as leaders in your positions of power to create a positive narrative about the value of faculty's doctoral education and what that brings to our institutions and to our students. And particularly the narrative that a doctoral education, we need you to counter the narrative that a doctoral education has little value in a community college because we're not research institutions. And we want you to back that up by action. You play an important role in this, and you can create policy that reflects that you value this level of education, and you can embed messages and uplift our voices and experiences and conditions and contributions. The vast majority of industries reward educational attainment. People with more education get paid more. When those of us who advocate for more pay because we have more education, we get deemed as elitists by our colleagues. This is not only wrong, but it seems like a compensation model that only exists in this district, because other community colleges also do pay people with doctorates more. Some of them, for example, give them an annual stipend. People spend a lot of time, a lot of money, they make a lot of sacrifices, and the expectation is that they will get compensated fairly when they go out in the market. It takes longer to complete a doctoral degree, which means it takes longer to get a full-time job and start earning it. It takes longer to start earning STIRS credits for our pensions and getting financial stability, while someone with a master's, including an MFA, can start earning much earlier. We are not failed researchers. Many people with doctoral degrees want to teach at community college, just like many people with masters want to teach at four-year universities. I don't know if you knew this, but you can get a full-time job at a four-year university with a master's. I want to just share two examples quickly of two friends who work in the K through 12 program.
I'm sorry, your time is up.
Good evening. I'm speaking today as a tenured counselor and faculty member who fully supports our faculty in the direction towards increased transparency. I want to briefly highlight an experience that points an opportunity for improvement, not in people, but in process. Over time, I realized I had missed out on several months of overload compensation, not because I wasn't doing the work, and also not because I wasn't willing to do the work, but because the process of requesting overload was not clearly defined or consistently communicated. It wasn't until much later that I learned there was a very specific way my dean wanted me to request it. That type of ambiguity creates inequities. When expectations are not explicit, access to compensation can depend on what somebody happens to know rather than the work that they contribute. As we move forward, I respectfully ask that we prioritized greater clarity, transparency, and consistency in how faculty processes, especially around compensation, are communicated and implemented. A clear system ensures fairness, builds trust, and allows faculty to focus on what matters the most to us, serving our students. A clear mind is a kind mind. I want to also thank the union for supporting me in solving this challenge. I want to thank you for your time, and most of all, I want to thank God for keeping me calm and structured during this struggle. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm here to read a submission from a faculty member who was unable to be here tonight. Good evening, members of the board. I regret that I cannot be there in person tonight. I'm a faculty member in the San Diego Community College District, and I'm writing to you because the current system is not sustainable for faculty or students. Recent resource allocation formula negotiations revealed something deeply concerning. Our faculty salaries rank among the lowest in Southern California, while administrative costs have steadily increased. Over the past decade, the share of the budget going to faculty has declined, and more than $11 million has effectively been removed from faculty compensation. To illustrate, if I move my teaching skills and talents to Miracosta College, I would make over $15 more an hour than I make in San Diego. That is a meaningful increase in salary. At the same time, we are living in one of the most expensive cities in the country. San Diego's cost of living continues to rise. Housing alone now requires a household income of more than
Please, in the back, if you can be silent. We have public comment right now. All the way in the back. Thank you.
Thank you. Requires a household income of over $250,000 per year, and I am a single mother with 2 children in college. Inflation is among the highest in the nation, yet our pay has not kept pace. For many of us, even annual step increases are negligible compared to real-world expenses. I want to make this personal. I recently earned a doctorate degree to better serve my students and strengthen my profession. I did not receive a pay increase for that achievement. My advanced education, like that of many of my colleagues, is not recognized or compensated. As an adjunct, I am also capped at 60% of contracted employment. 67% is a state requirement, but our dean has indicated to us that we won't work more than 60% this coming fall. For me, that's an $800 difference a month. That money is not disposable. It is money I depend on to pay the bills. Because of this, I have to work 3 different jobs just to make ends meet here in San Diego. This is not unique to me. It's the reality for many adjunct faculty across the district. When highly educated professionals must piece together multiple jobs to survive, it raises serious concerns about institutional priorities and long-term educational quality. We support fair pay for our lowest paid colleagues, but the current agreement leaves many behind. It does not improve recruitment, retention, or morale. It does not reflect the value of experience, expertise, or advanced degrees. We are asking for 3 things: meaningful salary increases, a compensation structure that recognizes education and experience, and greater transparency in decision-making. If this district is truly committed to student success, it must also be committed to the faculty who serve those students every day. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Hello again. I'm here as just a faculty member, not as the Senate President. I first want to finish the comment that my colleague, Dr. Martinez, started, which she was not able to say that another ask, a big part of this group's ask and her ask personally is to open negotiations, our contract negotiations. And now I'm going to go on to my public comment. So I want to start by reminding you all, I'm sure I've said this before and you've heard this, but I came from a Peace Corps background. Before being hired here, I was a Peace Corps volunteer twice, actually, Mongolia and Jordan. So I worked in 2 different countries for free with no salary, just getting the bare minimum. I always show off that in Jordan, which is the second poorest water country in the world, I used my water 3 times. We became experts at using gray water. So I never expected to be rich, and I have no desire to have more than we need to be comfortable. But what I have seen in my department, echoing what my colleagues have said, is I've seen 2 female colleagues leave. I'm sorry, not just my department, but at our college. One was actually a dear friend from the Peace Corps who joined our department in ELAC and left after a few years because she realized that she could not keep up with the cost of living. They had their first baby, and she looked at the cost of childcare, the lack of childcare options, the salary, and said, the math is just not mathing. We just can't do this. And that's with a 2-parent household. Next, I saw the only sustainable agriculture faculty leave because it was just too much work for not enough money. And again, she also ended up moving, and I'm sure will eventually take on another job. And I also want to share that personally, like when I got this job, and I'm still excited to work here, right? I'll never not be excited. But when I got this job, it seemed like so much money. I was like rich. Suddenly I had a salary, right? Because I went from nothing to something. And for a while, it felt comfortable, right? And again, we have 2 incomes. Eventually we had a child, and then we had another child, and then we said, oh, we want to buy a house, right? And that's when we realized how little money we actually had. And then I talked to my mom, and I remembered that when I was a child, my dad's salary was actually a lot more than mine was at that time. And my dad only had he didn't even have a high school degree. So my dad had 0 education and in Michigan, and he didn't even work for Ford, which was the major job that people got when they didn't have education. But he made close to $80,000 in Michigan in the 90s with 0 education. And so when my mom was, when I shared with my mom what my salary was and how excited I was, she was not as excited. She was worried. And when we tried to buy a house, I understood that we did not have much money. Eventually, we were so lucky to buy a house by the skin of our teeth. But we are what we call in San Diego house poor, right? We can make our mortgage payments, and we are comfortable, right? I am very lucky we're comfortable, but we are like 2 or 3 paychecks away from financial ruin, like most people in our position. I will be working to pay my mortgage until I die, most likely. I will not get to retire at an age that is comfortable. And I want to echo that a lot of faculty are in this position, and what they do is they teach overload, right? They teach as much overload as possible so that they can make it, so that they can be comfortable. And that is not good for students. Having faculty that are teaching at 3 different colleges and overload in their college so they can be comfortable in San Diego is bad for students. Lastly, I want to say that I recently talked to a unified colleague who I really wanted to apply for a counseling job. She's absolutely fantastic, and I would love for her to join our college, but she said there is no way she could do it because our salary is way too low. Thank you.
So we have one more group, but they are addressing item 10.02. So we will hear from them when we get to that item.
10.02. Thank you, everyone, for your public comments. Do we have any call for presentations by exclusive agents? No. Response to initial proposal of employee? Nothing. So now we go to our reports, and we start with our Chancellor report on communications, statewide, and legislative issues. Chancellor.
Try to make this quick. It's a very busy period for the legislature at the state level as over 1,000 proposed Assembly and Senate bills make their way through the process. There are 6 bills that address baccalaureate degree programs in the community colleges in this cycle, 3 that are specific to districts looking for the ability to duplicate CSU programs, and 3 that are more broad. The nursing baccalaureate degree program from Assemblymember Soria is back. You'll recall the governor has vetoed in consecutive years similar bills. So I expect that bill will make its way through the process, but then ultimately be vetoed by the governor. And then 2 that would severely limit duplication considerations from the CSUs, one from Assemblymember Alvarez and one from Senator Cabaldon that would make duplication a local regional issue, both of which we have supported. We'll be watching those closely to see if they have a chance to pass. We're looking forward to the May revise to the governor's January budget proposal approximately a month from now. Revenues at the state continue to come in higher than what was projected in the building of this budget, cumulatively to this point in the year, about $7 billion higher. Although the governor doesn't propose to fully have that funding go into Prop 98 as it should, so there's an area of immediate advocacy to ensure that we see that. It represents as much as $600 million for the community college system. At the federal level, there are a few things of importance happening. Earlier today, the House of Representatives passed a bill with bipartisan support that would extend temporary protective status for Haitian migrants for 3 years. It doesn't appear likely, from what I've read, that the Senate is going to pass that, but it does show that there is a growing interest in this issue and a bipartisan issue, support for this issue. So I'm hopeful that we'll see something happen over the course of this year. The Department of Homeland Security does not have an appropriations bill, while workers in some of the agencies have been paid in the absence of the bill. We continue to watch how that's going to play out. It looks like the Republican Party has found a way that they don't have to work with Democrats at all to fund those agencies, which would be unfortunate because there had been a proposal on the table that would have included passage of the Protecting Sensitive Locations Act and prohibiting immigration enforcement in schools, hospitals, religious facilities, and other institutions as part of a funding deal. If they work around, that'll be off the table, unfortunately. So we'll watch how that continues to progress. Things change daily. Finally, the president delivered his budget proposal for the federal government for the 26-27 year to Congress. While there are many things about that bill that we should be concerned about, several things that were proposed last year did not come back. Most notably, last year proposed cuts to the Pell Grant program, increases in the number of units students would need to take to be able to receive a Pell Grant, and what a maximum award would require are not in this budget. So I'm hopeful that the advocacy that many higher education institutions did last year will ensure that we don't see that proposal come back. That is the end of my report.
Thank you, Chancellor. We will start with Trustee Jameson report, so you can.
All right. I am excited for Black Student Success Week Summit tomorrow. I'm going to be providing the welcome along with the Chancellor. And I believe that's all I have for tonight. Have a great night, everybody. I'm going to get my baby.
Thank you, Trustee Jameson. And Student Trustee Jair Melendez?
Yes, thank you, Board President. Okay, for San Diego City College Associated Student Government hosted a board registration breakfast drive to encourage the student political engagement on April 28, 2026. For San Diego Mesa College, Associated Student Government hosted a student advocacy leadership with engagement activity from March 23 to the March 25, 2026. For San Diego Miramar College, Associated Student Government is preparing for the Associated Student Government election starting April 27, 2026. The last but not least, San Diego College of Continuing Education, AS Associated Student Government, was a sponsor of a resolution for equal resource access for non-credit students, which was approved in the last SSCCC General Assembly. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Trustee Melendez, Trustee Senior?
In the interest of time, no report.
Thank you. Trustee Milgram?
Also, in the interest of time, I'll be very brief. I want to recognize the faculty at Mesa and City for them continuing to offer research opportunities for their students. Today was the day that the student research was presented to the public, and on May 8th, the same for the Mesa College Research Conference. So I thank them all for their continued hard work above and beyond to give these opportunities to our students.
Thank you. Trustee Magana?
I look forward to the graduation ceremonies coming up, as well as all the awards ceremonies. Thank you.
And I just want to say thank you to everyone for coming today, providing your public comment, and to those that came to our open door session earlier today. Now the report from the Chancellor.
It's been a very busy month since our last meeting, several engagements I wanted to share with the board and the district community. First, the CEO Symposium for the Community College League of California was fortunately here in San Diego, so it was easy for me to get to. But it was great to connect with my colleagues around the state, and a lot of the issues that our district is confronting are being addressed by others around the state. And so it was an opportunity to share and hear how others are addressing those. The American Association of Community Colleges conference was in Seattle just this last week. I just returned on Wednesday and attended some very interesting sessions to hear about how colleges are supporting parent students, integrating co-curricular into entry-level math and English courses, and a number of other things that are innovations that I look forward to bringing back in conversation with Chancellor's cabinet. I'll be headed to Washington, D.C. on Monday to join HAKU in its advocacy to support HSI and MSI designations, and I've been invited to join a panel with HAKU's legal counsel, the New Jersey Lieutenant Governor, and a president from a college on the East Coast to talk about how those programs directly impact our students. I want to thank the Operations, Enterprise Services, and Facilities Division for hosting me earlier as I got to go in and talk with our staff there. And the main takeaway I want to share with the board is we have, I think, a very long history and a rich culture of being responsive to our students, our faculty, even when it means that we don't have adequate staffing, adequate funding, adequate processes, but somehow have been able to make it work. And I saw a lot of examples of that today, and it's something that we need to address because we can't continue to sustain doing it that way. But I very much appreciate the people who, when presented with the requests, figured out how to do it even when they didn't have the support they needed. I also just want to end with recognizing somebody who will be leaving us, the executive assistant to President Lundberg. Malia Kunst is headed to Tennessee. Her last DGC meeting was on Wednesday. I want to thank Malia for her service. I get to work directly with the executive assistants in each of the president's office, and she is outstanding. It's a big loss. Wes has a tough job ahead of him to fill, but I want to thank Malia for her service. That's the end of my report.
Thank you, Chancellor. Now we go to Board Policy, Section 9.
Recommend we take the policies in item 901, 902, and 903 together as a block. These are all second readings of board policies, primarily implementing legal and regulatory requirements. These have all gone through the appropriate participants' governance committees, including multiple readings at District Governance Council. I recommend the board adopt these policies.
Thank you. Before we go into a discussion, may I have a motion and a second on these policies?
1, 2, and 3.
1, 2, and 3. 901, 902, and 903.
So moved.
Moved by Trustee Milgram, second by Trustee Senior. Any discussion?
May I ask a question on Board Policy 6910, the housing one? The first line said the Chancellor has designated the authority to enter into agreements to finance, so forth and so on. It eliminates the board from those decision-making processes, or it doesn't indicate it? Is that just the language that's used, or is it?
Yeah, so it's delegated authority for us to go and negotiate, but any agreement would ultimately come to the board for approval.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Before we vote, student trustee, do you have anything to add, and how do you vote?
Not at this time. My vote is aye.
Thank you. Will the board members in favor please vote aye?
Aye.
Aye. The policies pass without, with an abstention, non-abstention, an absence from.
Trustee Jamison, not
Trustee
present.
Jamison, what did you say?
Not present at the
Not
vote.
present, thank you. Now we go to section 10, 1001.
Yeah, the district and the board has the opportunity to elect representatives to the community college, the California Community College Trustees Board of Directors. It's pretty simple this year. There are 9 spots on the board of directors, and there are 9 candidates running, including 6 for re-election. So we recommend the board approve our support for the 9 people volunteering to serve on this board.
Thank you, Chancellor. May I have a motion and a second on this item?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by trustee Senior, second by trustee Milgram. Any discussion on this item? Okay. Before we vote, student trustee, do you have anything to add, and how do you vote?
Not at this time, but President, my vote is aye.
Okay, will the board members in favor please vote aye?
Can you read the slate for the record?
Oh, the names of all the names, okay. So Chancellor Smith has recommended the following slate. Roberto Rodriguez from Palomar Community College District, Rachel Rosenthal, Sierra Joint Community College District, Suzanne Lee Chan, Aloni Community College District, I would have never figured that out. Crystal Jackson, West Hills Community College District, Barbara Dunsheath from North Orange County Community College District, Carlos Guerrero from Santa Clarita Community College District, Diana Olivares Lambert from Chaffey Community College District, Jonathan Abode, Santa Barbara Community College District, and Judy Chen Hagarty from Mount San Antonio Community College District. And now we vote. You're welcome. Okay, so now will the board members in favor please vote aye? Aye. With trustee Jameson not present. Now we go to item 1002, and I know we have public comment.
I'll introduce the item and then we'll go to public comment. So I want to thank trustees Arroyo and Milgram for bringing this forward. This is a resolution memorializing the district's commitment to eliminating its reliance on fossil fuels and adopting electrification throughout the district in alignment with the board's goals around the environmental sustainability of the operations of our district. And so at this point, I would recommend we hear public comment, and then trustees Arroyo and Milgram, if you'd like to add anything before we consider the resolution.
So once again, we have several people, and so I'm going to call the first 4 so that they can line up. Sydney Meacham, Serena Pelka, Jim Miller, and Moses Love Rico.
Sorry. So I can just go ahead. All right. Hi, I'm Sydney. Hi. I'm a student at City and at Grossmont College. I want the board to pass this resolution because, frankly, climate change is probably the most pressing global issue of our time. And I would like my district, San Diego Community Colleges, to lead by example and be part of the solution to that. It's pretty well known at this point that poor air quality affects the quality of your education. It affects concentration, it affects your cognitive function, and of course, it affects absenteeism by illness, respiratory illness. And I have personally taken classes in which I've been in a classroom that's powered by a generator and you can smell the diesel in the air, and it does affect your quality of your education, and I don't ever want to have to do that again. I think San Diego should really lead by example in our state and electrify our buildings and invest in the future and health of our students. Students like me, students like my friend Moses here, because I mean, if there's one thing everybody in this room can definitely agree on, it's that you care about students and you want us to succeed, and electrifying our future buildings is definitely going to help do that. That's all I really have to say. Thank you for your time. I really hope you consider that.
Good. So thank you. Good evening. My name is Serena Pelka. I work at Climate Action Campaign. We are a San Diego-based community organization where we work to advocate for a clean, affordable, and renewable energy future. It truly is a privilege to be here tonight, and I want to say thank you to the board and to the Chancellor for all the work that you do to ensure that this district and this community is beautiful and thriving. Schools, no doubt, are the center of our communities and hubs for creating solutions, and students and teachers deserve to learn and work in healthy spaces with clean air. Tonight, the goals included in this electrification resolution build momentum to really make that a reality. This is critical so that the people showing up every day for this school can do what they do best. Educators see every day how poor air quality affects student learning, and as we just heard from the student experience, that does impact academic performance. So when we invest in cleaner and healthier schools, we're investing in the people inside them, and that is absolutely something that we want to celebrate. Thank you also to AFT for your knowledge and the depth of care that you bring for the needs of your district, your teachers, and your students, and leading this to create a pollution-free future. The implementation of this resolution will eliminate harmful pollution from methane gas, cut energy waste by investing in high-efficiency appliances, and save money for the district and in the long term by maximizing renewable energy. It brings air conditioning to schools that need it and can become cooling centers for the surrounding communities. This is an important opportunity to make smart infrastructure investments that deliver both those immediate health impacts and long-term cost savings, especially as you start to really deploy those bond funds that are already designated to fund facility and sustainability upgrades. Decisions, as we know about infrastructure, are really legacy decisions. They're multi-generational, and so we're really excited to see these being considered as goals for the campus infrastructure. This is a teachable moment for our students and future workforce, demonstrating what real-world problem-solving looks like when we are faced with serious challenges like poor air quality, extreme heat, and energy affordability. We collectively have the solutions that we need, and this resolution will truly set a new standard of what's possible, not just for the San Diego region, not for California, but truly across the country. So we encourage you to support this resolution to transition the district towards a pollution-free, clean energy future to ensure our colleges are the healthiest places that they can be for our community. And we share sincere gratitude and thanks.
Good evening. I'm Jim Miller. I'm a professor at San Diego City College. I'm Vice President of AFT Local 1931. I'm on the CFT Labor and Climate Justice Education Committee and on the AFT National Climate Committee. At a time when we're seeing rollbacks of climate action of all kinds by the Trump administration at the national level and inaction elsewhere, all of it in the face of looming catastrophic climate change, this San Diego Community College electrification resolution is a light in the greater darkness, a bet on hope for the better future. AFT is proud to stand here today with our partners in the Climate Action Campaign, with students, with our allies in labor like IBEW 569, and support this resolution, and thank you for bringing it. We hope that this resolution by the district, which includes solid labor standards, these are going to be union jobs doing this work, they commit to climate action that will serve as an example for other districts and like institutions in the region to follow. We thank the district for leading on this, and we hope to be partners as it's implemented. This is centrally important to us because as AFT, as educators, we believe that our interests are inextricably bound to the interests of our students and the communities that we serve. This larger sense of solidarity means it's not just about us. It's not just about how much money we make. It's about all of us. This resolution is an investment in a brighter, sustainable future for everybody. Thank you.
And before Moses starts, Kelly Mayhew and Christina Marquez, if you want to make your way forward, you'll be the last two speakers. Moses?
Hello, I just want to thank you guys for being here. We all have the same 24 hours in a day, so I really appreciate you guys, using yours to sit and listen to all our comments. Yeah, I'm an honor student at San Diego City College. My name is Moses Lovrico, and I think this resolution is a great opportunity for the district. There's an opportunity to set multiple precedents, a precedent that we care about our students' future and we care about what we're doing in the climate. Clean air is obviously very important. I don't know if you've ever walked in a crazy restroom. It instantly changes your mood. So clean air in a school is very important for a positive learning environment. Also, Jim talked on the fact that these will be union jobs. I think this also sets a precedent of intersectionality between environmental organizations and union organizations. Sometimes organizations that don't always see eye to eye. So them working together to do something very impactful for the district, I think is an amazing opportunity. And yeah, I just think this would be a really, really positive thing. I think we could set a great example, and I, as a student, would feel really good about seeing the electrification of our district. So once again, thank you for your time, and have a good night.
I know you know me. But I am going to read off my titles because I'm here in a particular capacity. So not only am I a faculty member at City, but and an AFT Guild vice president, but I'm also chair of the California Federation of Teachers, Labor and Climate Justice Education Committee. And we've been working many years on climate issues. Both teaching about climate, I incorporate it in all of my classes, including British literature, believe it or not, and critical thinking and all of that, but also climate advocacy in addressing the ever-growing problems associated with climate change, and especially in the context that we're dealing with it right now with an administration full of climate deniers. So anything that we can do in our areas to mitigate what we're facing is very, very helpful. So I want to thank you all for doing this resolution. I am super proud of working in a district that is like this, and it's actually really cool to have something positive to talk about right now. I really do want to teach in a school, in a district that's healthier, less polluted, and relies on electricity rather than fossil fuels. And so the plan going forward is an awesome one. At City, I teach in the AH building. And of course, our windows look out over the roof of the BT building, which has all these spikes. And one day I asked, what are all those spikes for? And they're like, oh, it's for solar. But there's no solar there. So the infrastructure is awaiting some panels. As I know, all over our district, there are spaces that we can make this happen. And so I'm very excited that we are going to have an opportunity to do it, and that y'all are considering and hopefully voting yes on this resolution. And I appreciate you. So thank you very much.
Last but not least, good evening, esteemed board members and trustees. My name is Christina Marquez, the environmental organizer for IBEW Local 569, which is the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, which is we're the union that represents union electricians and power professionals in San Diego and Imperial counties, over 3,700 of us strong, with over 800 apprentices. I'm a journeyman who went through the apprenticeship, and as an apprentice, I worked on some of your schools that had project labor agreements, and I'm proud of them every time I drive by them. We are the skilled and trained electrical workers who have been working on, installing, and maintaining renewable energy systems like energy storage systems, solar, microgrids, wind turbines, EV charging stations, including the infrastructure for school buses and their charging stations, cruise ships for shore power, and many more areas. A resolution like this has many wins in it. First, there is a project labor agreement between the San Diego and Building Trades Council and SDCCD, which would give more opportunities for local San Diegans, journeymen, and apprentices to help fight climate change, thus giving the students and faculty clean air to breathe. It's an opportunity to enhance the CTE programs and workforce development programs, and finally, labor standards. The folks who are building, working, and maintaining these projects are given a pathway to the middle class, with a pension to retire with dignity. We thank the San Diego Community College Board of Trustees and staff in working with Climate Action Campaign and AFT to push this resolution forward, and we urge you to please vote yes on it. Thank you very much.
That concludes public comment.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Amanda. Well, before we have a discussion, may I have a motion and a second on this item?
So moved.
I seconded. Sorry, can I? Before we go on, any discussion or comments on this resolution, colleagues?
I just want to thank you for reaching out to Hasil and myself so that we could be involved in this, and I also want to thank you for raising the issue and bringing it forward. And
yeah,
thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, likewise. Thank you. I'm happy that you brought it. It's something that we can all benefit from. I think it was about time, that we took this resolution, and thank you, Chancellor, for the support, and Vice Chancellor Peterson, Serena from Climate Action Campaign. I look forward to becoming, one of those districts that are leading this effort. So with that, and thank you, students, for your voices and partners. It's very important, to have your voice. So now that we have the discussion, let's ask our student trustee, do you have anything to add, and how do you vote?
Not at this time, Board President, my vote is aye.
Thank you. Would the board members in favor of this resolution please vote aye?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. So the motion passes with trustee Jamison not here, absent. Thank you. And we move forward with item 1003 and so on.
I'd recommend that the board consider taking items 1003, 1004, 1005, 1006 in a single motion in action. All four of these are resolutions continuing our practice this year of highlighting areas of advocacy around diversity, equity, inclusion, and cultural recognitions. Item 1003 is a recognition of May 2026 as Jewish American Heritage Month. 1004 is recognizing May as Mental Health Awareness Month. 1005 recognizing May as National Asian American Native Hawaiian Pacific Islander Heritage Month. And 1006 recognizing May as National Military Appreciation Month. As you'll see in the text of 1006, that is recognizing service members, not just generically the military, but those individuals in our community who have served.
Thank you. May I have a motion and a second on these items?
Are you okay with having that lumped in? Okay, then we can also add item 1007, which is support for the Office of Child and Youth Success in San Diego. The board supported its creation back in 2020 due to budget cut issues. It's at threat of being eliminated or severely underfunded.
Thank you, Chancellor. So we have all these resolutions, and I think trustee Magana motioned, second? Trustee Senior, any discussion on these items? No? Okay. Student trustee, do you have anything to add, and how do you vote?
Not at this time, Board President, my vote is aye.
Thank you. Will the board members in favor please vote aye?
Aye.
Aye. These items pass unanimously with trustee Jamison not present. Item 1201, right?
Correct. There are
Yes.
no new programs in item 11. 1201 is approval of the student fee schedule for the 26-27 academic year. The most significant thing is the non-resident tuition fee, which was previously passed by the board. The rest of the changes are relatively minor in nature, some clarifications or adjustments due to specific course fees. So recommend board approve the fee schedule.
Thank you, Chancellor. Do I have a motion and a second on this item?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by trustee Senior, second by trustee Milgram. Any discussion? Hearing none. Student trustee, do you have anything to add, and how do you vote?
Not at this time, Board President, my vote is aye. Aye.
Thank you. Will the board members in favor please vote aye? Aye. Motion passes unanimously with trustee Jamison not present. Item 1301.
I'd like to invite Vice President of Instruction Isabel O'Connor to come up and let the board know what this new grant will do. Just want to highlight that in the aftermath of cuts to HSI grants, it's important we find different ways to continue to support the work, and this reflects one of those efforts. Vice President O'Connor.
Thank you. Well, we are at Miramar College are of course delighted to have been selected as one of the 8 institutions to receive funding through College Futures Foundation's Unlocking Economic Mobility for Adult Learners. And as you know, adult learners is one of our areas of focus. We were chosen from a very highly competitive group of 223 applicants. So we're very proud of the strength of our work. This recognition affirms MESA's commitment to advancing equitable outcomes for working adult learners. MESA's project centers on really growing one of our areas of focus, which is embedding work-based learning into the adult learner experience to strengthen pathways to career advancement and economic mobility. We have a partnership with the San Diego Regional Economic Development Corporation through Advancing San Diego to expand access to paid internships, and we are very proud of our MIP program. Through this, it's not quite 400,000, it's like $1 short, but through this investment, we will place 15 adult learners into paid business and computing internships in summer 2026. We're super excited about that. With 32 students already actively engaged in the application process, our students are very interested in participating, and we're already talking to 55 employers. These opportunities offer $21 to $23 per hour, allowing students to focus on career training while earning academic credit and gaining hands-on experience. The proverbial earn while you learn. We're also working to scale this effort from 170 to over 200 adult learners annually, supported by an 800,000, I wish it were, 80,000 match from the San Diego EDC in year 2. In short, we are very proud, and President Hans wanted to make sure that you knew who the team had been. It was Alex Berry, Monica Romero, Tara Hardy Teodoro, our VP of Instruction, that's me, along with our grant writing team for making this possible. And again, happy to answer any questions you may have, but we hope you do accept the money.
Thank you so much. Do I have a motion and a second on this item?
So moved.
Moved by trustee Senior,
Second.
second by trustee Milgram. Any comments or discussion on this item?
Yay for paid internships.
Thank you.
Agree. Okay, thank you. Student trustee, do you have anything to add, and how do you vote?
Not at this time, Board President, my vote is aye.
Thank you. Will the board members in favor please vote aye?
Aye.
Aye. The item passes unanimously with trustee Jamison not present. Now we go to 1408.
Recommend the board take items 1408 and 1409 together. This is the application of the resource allocation formula allocation to the Management Association, putting 1.7% on the salary schedule. Item 1409 is a legal requirement for the Public Employee Retirement System, which displays the updated management salary schedule with 1408 being passed, broken down by individual job titles. Recommend the board approve both these items together.
Thank you, Chancellor. Do I have a motion and a second on these items?
So moved.
Moved by trustee Senior, second by trustee Magana. Thank you. Any discussion on the items? None. Before we vote, student trustee, do you have anything to add and how do you vote?
Not at this time, Board President, my vote is aye.
Thank you. Will the board members in favor please vote aye?
Aye.
Aye. The motion passes unanimously with trustee Jameson not present. Item 14.10.
14.10 is recognizing Classified Professionals Week as the week of May 17th through May 23rd this year. Classified Professionals Week was established by Senate Bill 1552 in 1986. We'll have celebrations throughout the district, including classified service awards. There'll be a proclamation which we'll present at those events at all 4 colleges in the district office.
Thank you, Chancellor. May I have a motion and a second on this item?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by trustee Milgram, second by trustee Senior. Any discussion on the item? Seeing none, student trustee, do you have anything to add and how do you vote?
Not at this time, Board President, my vote is aye.
Thank you. Will the board members in favor please vote aye?
Aye.
Maria?
Aye.
The motion passes unanimously with trustee Jameson not present. Chancellor.
We recommend the board consider items 1503, 04, 05, 06, 07, and 08 together in a single item. All of these are changes to the scope of current Measure HH projects at our City, Mesa, and Miramar colleges. Just briefly want to remind the board, we'd previously brought for approval a process by which changes in scope that exceed a certain threshold could be considered. That was the establishment of a committee comprised of me, Vice Chancellor Peterson, Vice Chancellor Troy, where the colleges could present their requests. We would consider that and then bring forward for recommendation to the board subcommittee with trustees Arroyo and Magana serving any change to the scope and then for full approval of the board. Want to highlight that this is actually not a legal requirement at this point because we're in the design phase. We could have just taken these out to bid for the actual construction without bringing it through the board, but I didn't like the lack of transparency or board engagement in that process. So very quickly, what we have in all of these are expansions to the existing projects. Some of them are because of disruptions to the facility planning process that occurred due to COVID, specifically with Mesa Athletics. The Mesa 2030 plan was being done when COVID hit, and we didn't have the same level of engagement with some of the athletic programs as we did to those who were already completed. As we assess the scope of changes and what it would mean if we did not do them now, there would be significant additional costs to doing these in the future that aren't just escalation of construction costs, but things that we would build now that we would have to go back and deconstruct and reconstruct in order to address the football field, the seating, et cetera. Most of it has to do with health and safety and having adequate facilities for the programs. At City College, we have expansion of the A building expansion project. Specifically, what this would accomplish is having general counseling located alongside admissions and records and financial aid to provide a one-stop service experience for students and not having them go to multiple parts of the campus to accomplish the basic enrollment functions that they need to be able to sign up for classes. And at Miramar College, we have the case of programs that are actively under consideration for expansion while we have a bond program. So specifically in aviation, President Lundberg has been working with a state group in order to bring air traffic control programs to California's community college. If we build the facility for aviation at Montgomery Field as was considered 2 years ago, it would not allow us to implement an air traffic control. So the revision to that and increase in scope of that project would allow us to grow our aviation program in response to the needs of our local industry and industry. So with that, I recommend the board approve these and would invite trustees Arroyo and or Magana to offer any additional comments as the board subcommittee on these items.
Thank you. Before we do that, may I have a motion and a second on these items?
So moved.
Moved by trustee Senior, second by trustee Magana. Any discussion on these items? Trustee Magana.
I would like to have us consider, or in our planning, because I know that at the last meeting, board meeting, we had individuals over at Miramar who came in talking about their needs in their programs. And I want us to look at those and see if there's a process or of also considering those issues. Because yes, I am for let's do what we need to do to build out these buildings, to make them the best that we can, but also not to forget the other programs that have not gotten any plans in the works and will be a long time before we can deal with them. I want there to be a discussion to continue that.
I second that. Yes, I had met with those folks.
Thank you. Anybody else? No, thank you. So now that we have those comments, student trustee, do you have anything to add, and how do you vote?
Not at this time, Board President, my vote is aye.
Thank you. Will the board members in favor please vote aye?
Aye.
These motions, they pass unanimously with trustee Jamison not present. Now we go to item 1509.
1509 is approval of a change order for the ECC theater renovation project that exceeds 10% of the original contract price. By policy, any such change needs to be approved by the board. The change here is to install flooring throughout levels 1 and 2 of the ECC campus that are consistent with what will be the new flooring in the theater. I think the board has seen the designs on those. It's very beautiful. We want to have a consistent visual. And so extending that will increase the scope of work for the project, but it will create a consistent visual and an upgraded experience for our students at that campus.
Thank you, Chancellor. May I have a motion and a second on this item?
So moved.
Moved by trustee Senior,
Second.
second by trustee Milgram. Any discussion? Seeing none, student trustee, do you have anything to add, and how do you vote?
Not at this time, Board President, my vote is aye.
Thank you. Will the board members in favor please vote aye?
Aye.
Aye. The item passes unanimously with trustee Jamison not present. And now we go to the next items. Chancellor.
Recommend the board consider items 15, 15, 16, 17, and 18 in a single action. These are all emergency action updates. Item 1515 is the Mesa Baseball Outfield Fencing and Netting Project. Installation was completed, final inspection on the new netting on March 11th. We're in the final invoicing and closeout, which we expect to happen by the end of this month. And the expected final cost is $532,072. 1516 is the Miramar Central Plant York chiller. The compressor and the chiller have been reassembled. The work was completed on March 20th. We expect the final cost of that to be $124,348. Item 1517 is the Miramar transformer connection fault. There was an emergency declared on March 9th. Full power outage in the LRC, M building, and I buildings. The issue was the connection point between the transformer and the building, which are faulty. Medium voltage cables and vaults have been installed. The work was completed on March 20th. Pending final invoices, we expect it'll be around $15,000. Item 1518 is the sewer line collapse at the Educational Cultural Complex. The pipes have been cleaned, new lining installed. That was completed on March 4th. We're pending final invoices with the final cost expected to be $27,563.
Thank you. May I have a motion and a second on these items?
So moved.
Moved by trustee Magana, second by trustee Senior. Do I have any discussion? Seeing none, student trustee, do you have anything to add, and how do you vote?
Not at this time, Board President, my vote is aye.
Thank you. Will the board members in favor please vote aye? Aye.
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 Thank you. These items pass unanimously with trustee Jamison not present. Thank you, everybody. It was quite the meeting, you know. We discussed a lot of items, positives, and beautiful campus meeting. Thank you again. Seeing no further business on the agenda, and if there are no objections, this meeting is now adjourned. Have a good night.